OMG, this is super duper bright. Look at the brightness of this. Isn't that funny?
Yes.
Look at that. Okay, we're not going to be that bright. Okay.
There we go.
That's much better. Oh,
That's too bright.
oh, you know what's funny? My hat is giving off sparkles on this.
Yes, it is. It is. It looks nice.
I love it. Look at Kira. I love it. Okay, let's do this a little bit.
You got paper? Oh, you know
Crypto. So it's our crypto meetup. So, okay, don't touch the Valerie. Do not touch the thing, Valerie. All right. Apologize. Apologize, peeps. Apologize.
My pocketbook and the little zipper part at the top. There's a pin. The brown bag. Yeah, right. You know on the top where the zipper is.
Hey, come on, it's crypto time. It's crypto time. I feel like I'm Valerie love binge watching today. We love binge watching. We love that. Hi, hey, Machanova. How you loving? And I understand. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm first.
I don't know how to use it.
I think we're going to do a filter because I'm excited about the filters, and I haven't used a filter in a very long time. So I think I'm going to go with one of these
No, my
filters.
brown in the my pocketbook. Yeah.
Let's get started.
I know. On the
Bubbles.
side pocket. Inside, yeah. Inside?
Ah, dance party. Let's see dance party.
There we go.
I kind of like dance party. Do you like dance party?
Yeah.
Is anybody watching the video? Are you going to watch the video?
I'll watch
no,
it.
you want to watch the? I don't.
Can you give us any feedback?
Yes. Dance party is gorgeous. I love dance party. Okay, let's see about Dream. That's Dream. Dream has kind of got the Matrix thing going. Y'all vote. Vote on what you want.
Okay.
Here's Glamour. I like Glamour. Here's Beam. Dang, I didn't even finish watching.
Yeah.
Too washed out.
You live already?
Here's 8mm.
Yeah.
Looks like a movie. Here's Dawn.
What was the other one that you had up there?
Beam. Here's Beam.
That's washed out.
Here's Glamour. Here's Dream. Dream is like the effects.
Kara.
You like Dream? You like the
This one
effects?
that you got going.
Dream?
Yeah.
Let's do Dream.
Here, Kara.
Wow, you look so magical.
Oh. Wait a minute. I'm getting my Matrix on. I'm Neo in the Matrix.
I like that.
Come on,
Would
agents.
it be Trinity?
Did
Or
you?
the
Yeah.
what is that?
I'm okay with that.
When he had the light. The Kung Fu Master.
The Kung Fu Master.
Remember the Kung Fu Master?
No.
He had the power. Yes, you do. He had the power.
Oh.
Show enough.
Show enough. Last Dragon.
Last
The Last
Dragon.
Yes.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. You know what? Dream. They're going for Dream. Dream. Oh, wow. Yeah, Dream. I'm going to move this over a tiny bit more so that I can clearly see.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's permanently ingrained
Is
in
it?
my memory.
Dream. Dream it is. Yes. Dream. Yay, we have effects. Is that my phone? Oh, is that your phone stand? Okay, it's all good. Love the hat. Thank you. Butterflies. So tonight we're really going to go into the fundamentals of Bitcoin so we can truly understand the enormity and the amazingness of this incredible. Yes, this is a butterfly. The amazingness of this platform. Yes? And how about we have a really good discussion? Hey, Quincy, how you doing? How are you? How you doing? Good. Excellent. Excellent. So we can really understand this incredible technology and so that everyone can have this discussion about how you can really profit from it. Then this is also going to take off all of these scams. This is going to make a scam proof, right?
Yes.
Because if you know what's going on, then you no longer are subject to scams, right? Everyone? Yes? Yes, yes, yes?
Yes.
So first, let's start with a little intro. Y'all want to do a little intro?
Sure.
Okay, because this is the first time Stan is joining us, and
Okay.
so what do you want to get? What do you want to get from tonight? So you want to start, Miss D?
Oh, introduce myself, or what do I want to get?
Yes,
first?
both.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, hello everyone. I'm Tiffany Satchel.
Hi, Tim.
It's nice to meet you all. And what I would like to know concerning Bitcoin is, I know you said you want to look at the
Whoa,
history.
that's interesting.
Oh
if
yeah,
that's
it's not
They're not
yeah,
stationary.
it's not stationary.
Right.
Sorry. You think we're not on camera?
Wow, I didn't realize that. Maybe the corner is better.
No worries. It just happened to them too.
Oh my goodness.
That's how we know.
Would it be better if we move over there? Because that would be more comfy and more spaced out.
You think
Let's
it'd
move
be- okay.
over. Okay, come on.
Guys,
Let's
I'm very, whatever
You
you
sure?
guys do, yeah, I don't care. So if you guys are comfortable here, I'll stay here.
Well, I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm
Is it more
good
space?
with whatever. I want
Everybody's good, so
everybody to be.
I want everybody to be
So
comfortable.
if you wanna
I'll
lean
move if
back,
everybody
right.
want to move.
Okay.
It doesn't
You
matter
good?
to me.
Okay. Just making sure everybody's good. Okay. Continue. So,
Like when, all right, so like when you're choosing a coin, like how exactly, like I look at the historical data, how exactly do you do it? I want to know how exactly how you do it. Like
How I
when
choose
you're
a coin?
actually looking at, I know you said that you pray to God, but after that, I know that you still go and do some research,
oh,
right?
I do research. Absolutely.
So-
Yes, because the fool and his money is soon parted. So we definitely have to do research and discover what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what you would find out. Okay, Stan, what's your intention, or what is it that you want to make sure to walk away with so that we can fulfill on that promise?
Well, it seems like it's been some kind of, an opportunity to think independently,
Yes.
and I feel like I'm missing out on something, and I want to know basics about it. So I want to get involved, but I want to get involved the right way.
Smart. Excellent. How did you find out about Bitcoin?
Well, it's been been wondering about it for about a year, to be
Oh,
honest.
really? Okay.
Yeah, but I did some research online, and different people say different things,
Mhm.
and but I haven't bought anything yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So let's go next to Phoenix.
So I also want to learn more about how to spot good coins, also security. We talked about cold wallets before, but for those coins who are not yet ready to go into a cold
Yes, the cold
wallet, how
wallet.
do you secure them?
Absolutely. Because with the cold wallet, even with my Trezor, there's a little bit of a couple of steps there to get your ERC20 tokens, if you bought them on exchange, onto your Trezor, and working with my Ether wallet. There's a couple of steps in there, so I got you.
I forgot to bring my nano.
Yeah, your Nano and the Trezor. I have the Trezor around. Kira, any want to introduce yourself, and you have any intention for this evening? What you want to learn or pick up, or
Hello, I'm Kira. Every so often I come to the Billionaire Club to either learn something new or reinforce what is already learned, and that helps compound into a better future, not only for myself, but it also shows that showing up is also very integral to your level of success.
absolutely, absolutely. Good for you. Good for you. Yes, Lady Ninherson.
Hello.
Hello.
Made my 3-hour drive.
Made your
today.
3-hour drive from
With bells
Virginia.
So, my intention for this particular meetup, the fundamentals for Bitcoin, is to, as a refresher,
Refresher, excellent.
Right.
Love it.
always going back to the basics is always good.
Yes.
Because that's our foundation
Yes.
for building any house, and this is our financial house.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure that we definitely keep our foundation strong, and any bit of information in that direction is what I'm looking for.
Okay, excellent. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And Zaire, anything you want to say or share as well?
I'm just really here to keep. I mean, the more that I intake it, the more that I can really start just mastering it. You know what I'm saying? Repetition.
Mastery.
Yes.
Mastery level of Bitcoin and crypto. That's
Yes.
what we're going for.
Yes.
Mastery level. Excellent. I love it. And my job as a teacher is really education, because if you're educated on the fundamentals, then you'll know exactly what to do. You can spot a scam, you can spot a scheme, you'll know what to do, right? So there are really 7 fundamentals of Bitcoin that I like to talk about. But before we go into the 7 fundamentals of Bitcoin, I want to address what is Bitcoin? Because most people say, what is it? And to me, it's four things. So one, Bitcoin is a protocol. A protocol means a way of doing something. And to give you a little bit about my background, I was a financial planner at American Express for 7 years, and I have a financial background, studied stocks, bonds, mutual funds, was a life insurance agent and all of that, and a stockbroker and so forth. So my background is a financial background, as well as spirituality, because of course on this channel we're all about magic, money, and spirituality. So that's a little bit about my background, and that's why I took to crypto so fast, because I knew about the pain in the traditional financial markets, the pain points. I knew them well, and I knew that the traditional financial markets do not serve most of the population of this planet. So half of the planet, or maybe 60% of the planet, is unbanked and unbankable. And that always concerned me, because that means that people didn't even have a fair opportunity to be able to access financial markets, right? At least give everybody the same opportunity, and then what each person does with the opportunity, you do with it. Maybe you create 1 billion, maybe you could create 1 trillion, maybe you create 1 million. At least everyone is to have access to financial markets. And when I was in financial planning, I knew that that wasn't the case. People came to me and they had to have money in order to invest. In order for us to take them on as a client, if they didn't have money, we couldn't take them on as a client. In crypto, you can start literally with $10. You can't start in the financial markets with $10, right? So that's a little bit about my background, why I'm really passionate about crypto, really in the movement of moving everyone out of fiat. Eventually, everyone is saying in 5 years, there'll be no such thing as fiat currency, right? You'll go into a store, no one will accept fiat. It'll be Ethereum, it'll be this. Oh yeah, in 5 years, they say that will happen.
They were already going
Wow,
through
Bitcoin
this.
been out for 10 years.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
5 years.
That's no time.
There'll be no such thing as crypto, as
Dollar.
fiat currency.
The dollar.
So fiat meaning money by fiat. Fiat money means money by declaration. So government.
No, he's thinking
Currency.
fiat is crypto.
Oh, fiat is money by declaration, which means money that's issued by the governments. So US dollar is a fiat currency. Fiat literally means your declaration. And so it's money by declaration. They declare it, the government creates it. They declare it to be money, and it's not backed by anything, right? Any longer. It used to be backed by gold, but not any longer, right? So fiat currency is the Japanese yen, the Chinese yuan, right? The euro, all those, yes. So all of those really will be, they say, defunct within about 5 years. Now, what excites me a lot is that Venezuela and a couple of, I believe Russia, they've already come up with, I think Venezuela, or is it Brazil, has already come up with their own cryptocurrency. Have you seen that?
Oh, I haven't seen
Oh
that.
yeah, state issued cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan?
I think you're talking
Okay,
But if they do
Kazakhstan.
that, how is the government not involved?
No, the government is involved. The government
They
created their own coin.
basically, they put
Is that
like, they say, it's good.
Oh, so that's cool. It's not, but it's not FDIC. No, that's not.
Well, we'll get deeper into it,
Oh,
what
okay.
that
Okay.
means.
Okay.
But yeah, it absolutely, it's
It's
centralized.
decentralized.
No, it's
It's
centralized.
centralized.
So we'll talk about that.
The
Oh, okay.
government somehow backs it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So we'll talk about that. So
Okay.
for me, Bitcoin is 4 things. So number 1, Bitcoin is a protocol. When people ask you, what is Bitcoin? This is how I share it. Number 1, it's a protocol. A protocol means a way of doing something. So it's very simple. The way that Bitcoin does what it does is by math. As simple as you can put it, Bitcoin is math. Okay? It's you know how math has different schools, right? In math you have geometry, you have multiplication, you have the high level math, what do they call it? Algebra and even trigonometry,
Calculus.
all of these different forms of math. Well, cryptography is what Bitcoin is. It's a form of math. Okay, so let's just make it very simple. So that's 1. It's a protocol that's run by math. Okay, that's why, and it's very important to understand how this runs, because then you can see and you can test other coins when you're looking at it. The reason I can spot good coins and not good coins is because I understand the fundamentals, and right away I know, oh, that won't work. Oh, that will work. Oh, that's a great idea, but it won't work because of this. Because I understand the underpinning, right? The fundamentals. So that's the first thing we've got to get, that Bitcoin runs on math, plain and simple. And this one point right here is going to help you understand so much more as we go down the line about Bitcoin, okay? So number 1 is a protocol. Number 2, I also say that Bitcoin is a network. So what's a network? A network is anything that has two or more people attached to it, two or more parties, right? So it's a global network. It's a network of people who've come together who have a node. What is a node? It's just simply a computer that's running the Bitcoin protocol, right? The Bitcoin client. So let's say I have it, you have it, you have it, and Tiffany has it. Let's say the four of us have it. 4 people on a network, that means we can now connect with each other, right? Because 4 people are in a network. Well, the network effect says that the value of that network goes up every time a new participant enters the network, right? So if there's only 4 people on a network, that network is not very valuable. It's only 4 people on the whole planet, 7.5 billion people on the planet. If 8 people, if the network doubles to 8 people, the network effect just went double, because now we doubled from 4 to 8. What if we go from 8 to 16? See, Bitcoin is a network of people all over the globe, and the network keeps expanding every day. And so this helps us to understand, oh, that's why the price of Bitcoin keeps going higher and higher, because simply on the network effect alone, you will have more value. Does everybody understand that every person that comes to the network not is making Bitcoin more valuable, it's making the whole network. Does everybody get that?
It's
Talk to
because,
us about that.
it's because they're adding to it, right? Because they're putting something in. That's why, not right. That's what.
Well, not really, because think about it this way. If you have AT&T, right? Let's say you want to start a cell phone company. And let's say you only had 2 customers, myself and Stan. It's 3 of us in the network. Well, who can talk to each other? I can talk to you, and you can talk to Stan, and I can talk to Stan, and all 3 of us can talk together. But what about Tiffany? What about Kira? It's not a very valuable network because it's only 3 people. What if we added 10,000 people and we can now all talk to each other? That's a much more valuable network, isn't it? 10,000 people is more valuable than 3. Because the more people come to it, the network effect says it keeps getting more valuable every participant that comes to the network. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like insurance.
Yes. Insurance, they have this thing called the law of large numbers. And that the bigger the numbers are, the more truer the numbers are. Like, we can't tell from 2 insurance claims the real truth. But if we see 10,000 insurance claims, that gives us an accurate picture. It's the law of large numbers. And that's one of the first things you learn in life insurance. That if you have, let's say, we have life insurance, and let's say there's 5 of us here, right? And we don't really know who's going to die when or how this is going to all play out. It's only 5 people to study. But if we study 100,000 people in this particular class, people, and if they have classes, people who smoke, people who don't smoke, people who are married, people who are not married, people who own a home, people who don't own a home, right? So they have all their inputs. And if we look at 100,000 people, we're going to get some accurate numbers on what this class is going to do. And depending on what class you fit in, that's how they're going to charge you for your insurance. It's so simple, right? But they have on their side numbers. And the more the numbers, the more accurate the picture. Does that make sense for everyone? Okay. So, what's the first thing that Bitcoin is? When you tell somebody, what is it? It's a protocol. It's just how we do it. How do we do it? By math. Okay? Everybody's with us. Good, right? Everything's simple so far, right? Second thing that you're going to tell them that it is.
It's a network.
It's a network. We're all connected. How does that sound?
Is there anything that has 2 or more people?
Yep. A network is anything that has 2 or more. Because connections.
2 or more parts.
Yeah.
To the screen.
Connections. We're connected. Right?
There's no comments. They just watching.
Yeah. Let's learn it. Let's get it.
They like just like us.
And you must know this. That's why we're going to the fundamentals. You must know this before investing any money. You must understand how this thing works, right? You need to understand the fundamentals. In financial services, fundamentals are everything. And if it doesn't fit the fundamentals, don't do it. It's so simple. But first you have to learn the fundamentals. And that's true in everything. With basketball, what did Michael Jordan do every day?
Shoes.
From the free throw line, right? Just do 1,000 free throws every day. That's fundamental. What does he do every day? Dribble. Dribbling is fundamental to basketball. Everything has its fundamentals, and if you master the fundamentals, you'll become a master of that thing. I mastered the fundamentals, and it didn't take very long to do that. Just a few really focused weeks of wrapping my head around what is this thing until I really had the fundamentals mastered, okay? Third thing that Bitcoin is, It's an asset. It's an asset. It is an asset that is going up in value. So when I first started buying Bitcoin, it was in 2014. November of 2014, Bitcoin came into my spirit. Bitcoin and Bali and Bitcoin came into my spirit in meditation. And I jumped up. Bitcoin? You mean that little yellow bee I've been seeing all around the internet is not fake funny money? That's what I was thinking. Oh, that's fake funny money. That'll never work. Because people in financial services are so convinced that it's funny money. It'll never go anywhere. It doesn't make sense. No. It doesn't have any value. It's a scam. It's a ripoff. That was the instinctual financial advisor conditioning when I saw the Bitcoin. Oh, that's some nerd money, some money that they use for gamers. That doesn't have anything to do with the real world. Because in the real world, it has to go through the government and the SEC and the financial service. That's only legitimate money. It's money that comes from the government, right? That's how we were conditioned. That's not so. And here's how we know that's not so. If we consider money, we create money. We create money.
Yeah.
What's the money of a prison? They don't have cash in prison. Cigarettes is the money of prison. It's the currency.
Yeah.
We create currency.
What do you have to trade?
Yes.
Yep.
That becomes a mutual currency that is wanted by everyone, is rare and scarce, right? And that everybody wants it. So you can use it as a store of value or unit of measurement, store of value, medium of exchange. These are the different aspects of money, right?
Okay.
Medium of exchange. We can use cigarettes as a medium of exchange, can't we? Because people want them. And they're rare and they're scarce. They're not just lying around on the floor. If they were lying around on the floor, we couldn't use it.
Right.
Now, here's something more intriguing about how we create money. Andreas Antonopoulos taught this. He's one of my favorite Bitcoin teachers. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. I give out a lot of resources. Andreas, Andreas, last name Antonopoulos, Antonopoulos. He's Greek. Incredible. He's an incredible Bitcoin teacher. He was my very first Bitcoin teacher. I devoured everything that he said. I still do. He is bar none a genius. And he has a programming background because he was a tech person. So he got Bitcoin right away, like ding, 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 ding. And he said it derailed his whole life because ever since then, right, because he was a tech guy.
Yeah.
And he was a brilliant tech guy. Like when he was little, he was making computers. Like he wasn't just your ordinary tech guy, right? He was really brilliant. And so he was onto email, he was onto websites before anybody even knew what any of this stuff meant. So when he saw Bitcoin, he gave his life to Bitcoin. That's all he does. He teaches, he travels the world, and he teaches people about Bitcoin. That's all he does. He's paid in Bitcoin, he lives on Bitcoin. That's it. He's the Bitcoin guy, right? So Andreas Antonopoulos, and what I love about him is he's apolitical. He doesn't get caught up in the political games, and there's so much talk and jibber jabber in Bitcoin, in crypto period, because people are in crypto, right? So this is all this back and forth, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you why in a moment. It's one of the components to understand about Bitcoin. So he doesn't get involved in all that politicking and positioning and jockeying. He doesn't get involved in all that. That's how I am too. I like people that don't get involved in all this jockeying and positioning. Let's just talk about the facts. What is it? Let's honor each person's opinion. What does each person bring to the table, right? And let's make some wise choices. So this is what Andreas Antonopoulos said about the creation of money. Let's go to Halloween. The kids all went out trick-or-treating. Let's say 5 of them come back. They're friends. They're sitting down. You know how they throw all the candy out and they're counting up all their candy. One of the candies will emerge as a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. The chocolates.
Chocolates. Right?
Yeah.
Look at how the creation of money happened. And he said that candy will then become a trade-off for all the other candies. So let's say it's the Kisses, Hershey Kisses. Now they're rare. It's not a whole floor full of Hershey Kisses. Maybe you have a lot of the hard candies, you have this, you have that. So maybe now they've all decided that everyone wants Hershey Kisses. That just became the money, the currency.
Right. Okay.
And now If you want a Hershey Kiss from me, you're gonna probably have to give me 5 or
Right.
3 of something, hard candies, for one Hershey Kiss.
Exactly.
The Hershey Kiss just became the currency.
Wow.
That's how we create money, and we create it all the time. In any environment.
I watched that video.
Isn't that
said
incredible?
Well, I watched it 3 times, but you just, maybe I had to hear it more. Like, you really do have to keep. Now it finally penetrated.
do
When you
have
was
to
telling that
keep-
story, I was like, I still
Keep
can't
talking
understand
about it.
it.
Yeah. We really have to keep talking about it
Yeah.
because that's how, you love that filter? Yeah, it's so magical, isn't it? I love it. I love it. So let's go to the third thing that Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is an asset. So it being an asset, when I started in 2014, it was about $178, $200. And we were buying it and using it because we were thinking, look at Stan's face like, what? I get that look a lot.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like you've done it the right, more or less right time. 2014.
To
That's
play
why
around
it
and
was
learn.
a good, yeah.
Yeah.
And you could.
Yeah. The only coin that has made us significant money has been Bitcoin.
Right.
None of the altcoins can hold a candle to what Bitcoin has given us thus far. None of them. All of them are experiments. From 2 down on CoinMarketCap, they're all experiments, including Ethereum, that we don't know will work or not. Bitcoin is proven. Bitcoin is coming up on a decade. Just had 9 years. In January of 2019, it'll be a decade, right?
Yeah.
2009 from the Genesis block.
Right.
So it was released, the white paper for Bitcoin was released in October 2008.
Okay.
This is how we're going to do it.
Right.
This is the protocol. This is how it's going to work. And the actual implementation of it was January 9, 2009. So Bitcoin is 9 years old, about to be 10 years old in less than a year. It's going to be a decade old. Most people do not realize Bitcoin has been around that long.
Right.
It's been around for a decade.
Because they only just now hearing about it.
Right, because now with the 20,000, a big leap up to 20,000 and then down. And so I laugh when it leaps up to 20,000 and comes back down to 8. It's like, and people
Why
are like,
you ain't buying none?
"Oh
That's
my
what I said.
God." Yeah,
Why you ain't buying none?
and people do not realize a year ago it was something like 3,000. Even 3,000 to 8,000 is still huge.
It wasn't even 3,000.
It wasn't even 3,000 a
It was
year ago.
$700.
700.
I know, because that's when I was introduced to it by you.
Okay,
And
wonderful.
that's when I started buying.
Oh, good.
Because it was
700.
It was right around $780 something.
$780.
$800 in March of 2017.
In 1 year ago.
In 1 year. So last year it
Wow.
was predicted
No, that's true. Yeah,
to
that's
go
how my
to
little $5
$10,000
Yeah.
by December, but it hit 20,000.
20,000.
And then what surprises me about people, when it went down from 20,000 to 10,000,
They were mad.
they're mad and they scared and they looking at you like, see, I told you that
They wasn't going to work.
Are you even thinking about what you're saying?
Yeah.
It was less than $1,000
Less than a
less
year
than
ago.
12 months ago. It's $10,000. Dude,
Right.
that sounds like good math to me.
That's
Sound like good
huge.
math for me too.
It's huge.
That's
But people are
huge.
not, right. They only look at it went shot straight
Right.
to 20,000 and straight
But
back down.
imagine if you bought it 20,000.
Oh.
Well, yeah, that
True.
wasn't the time to buy.
That was not the time to buy
That was
at
not the
20,000.
time.
You gotta hodl.
Hey,
Hodl.
but when it goes
How
to
do we-
50,000,
When it
That's
goes back
hold.
up to 50,
but when it
It
goes
goes
to
back
you
down.
want to feel
you'll be
good.
like, all right, cool, I got it 20,000.
Yeah,
And
Well,
you
that's what I
gotta
always tell people.
There will
hold
be
tight.
$1 million. Yeah,
Hold
hodl.
tight.
Hodl
It
means
went
hold.
down to 7 last night. I bought $50 worth. It went down
Look
to
at that.
7. It went
Beautiful.
down to 7 G's last night. I think it went back up this morning.
That's why they say buy the
I
dip.
had to look, I'm in hibernation.
Buy the dip.
I know, right?
Buy
Yeah,
the
look
dip.
at
What?
it.
Buy the dip. When it goes dips
When it
down,
goes down?
buy.
But it was going down, and then
Good.
something was like, buy it now.
Buy
When
it
I looked,
now.
I was like, $7,000. Yes.
Yes.
I was like,
You made some money.
I know I
Bought
did.
Bitcoin.
Look, you made some money. It's
Yay.
8,000.
It's
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 8,000. Yeah, because I saw it this morning. I was like, yes. It went
Yes,
up.
it went
Come
up.
on.
Yeah, that went back up.
The most money that we've made over these years in crypto has been in Bitcoin, hands down, Barton. Okay?
Yeah.
So third, it's an asset, right?
An asset,
It's an
yes.
asset. So it's an asset that actually is going to value, but it's not only an asset. That's why this SEC and lawmakers have had such a difficult time to
Right.
categorize it, because it's not only an asset, that's an aspect of Bitcoin.
I have a question.
Right.
You said that you're going to give us 4 things about Bitcoin.
Four.
Does that apply also to altcoins, or is it just for
No.
Bitcoin? Okay.
We're only talking about Bitcoin
Bitcoin,
right
got
here. Okay? All right. So number 3 is an asset. Number 4 is a currency.
Currency.
So lastly, it's money. It's
Okay.
not money, first of all. Lastly, it's a currency. In other words, it has a value that we can trade.
Yeah.
Okay? A medium of exchange. And it's much better money than fiat. Much better than money than fiat, right? It's sound money. It's real money. Much better than fiat. Okay? Now, let's go to the 7 characteristics. So that's the first thing I wanted to put there, is when people ask the question, what is Bitcoin? That's what I tell people. To me, it's 4 things.
Yeah.
When they ask, what is it?
Right.
Right? Has anybody ever asked you that? What is
What
it?
is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they ask me, I
People
say, I
don't even
don't
understand
know, but I
what-
made money.
I don't know.
That's what I say. I don't know, but I made money.
But now you can tell them. You can tell them it's a protocol of how we do
Okay.
things. A protocol is math. It's a network. People connected all over the world. It's also an asset. It goes up in value. Or it acts like any asset, up and down in value. And it's also a currency. It has actual value as a medium of exchange. And that's what I tell people.
Right.
And for me, that worked for me because when I was studying it, it fit. That's how it looked like I could answer the question, what is Bitcoin?
What is
Because you
Bitcoin?
can't answer
Okay.
what is Bitcoin in just
No.
one sentence.
Well,
It's so
I would
much.
say,
Mhm.
or I have said
Yeah.
digital currency, but
Digital
I don't know.
currency, that's
Digital
true.
currency.
That's why I say
That's
digital
true.
That's the short answer.
However, it's so much more
More
than
than that,
digital
right.
currency, right? It's not just money, just a
Right.
currency. So much more than that. And the best part of Bitcoin is not even the money part of Bitcoin.
It's what it's doing for
So
people.
let's
Right.
talk
Yes.
now about the 7
7.
characteristics, okay? These are the
Okay.
fundamentals. Number 1, it is trustless. Number 1,
Yeah.
trustless, trustless, trustless. And if you understand the true meaning of trustless, you will be able to knock out a whole bunch of the coins on CoinMarketCap that are just crap because they're not trustless. What does trustless mean? Does anyone really know what trustless means? What is trust? Okay, trustless means that we no longer need a third party in the middle. So if I wanted to send money to Stan and you were in another country, I couldn't physically give you the cash. Let's say I wanted to give you $1,000 US. And let's say you were in another country. Let's say you're in Russia, I'm in the Americas. How would I get $1,000 to you? I can use PayPal, right?
Yes.
And we trust PayPal, right?
Right.
So PayPal is in the middle.
Yeah.
They know me, you know them, they know you, and they have agreed to take the money from me and safely get it to you. And then I can confirm that you received it, when you received it, and all of that.
Right.
That's called a trusted third party.
Right.
We needed a trusted third party because we couldn't move money all around unless the person was in our presence and we actually had this big stack of cash. But cash is so it's not practical. Who's going to carry around $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 to pay things? You don't go to your mortgage company and pay them $1,000 or $2,000 cash at the bank. You don't go to the bank to the
Yeah.
mortgage company, right? So because we had all these experiences, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, very good. We needed a trusted third party that would stand in the middle between me and you, collect it from me on my side, and give it to who I said on the other side. And because that trusted third party was in the middle, what did we have to do? We had to pay them.
Yes, for a small fee.
Sometimes a not so
lot
small
of
fee.
Yeah, it's a big fee.
And then we have to abide by their rules.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then we have to prove our identity to them.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And didn't we have to prove worthiness to them that we can
Yes.
even get a bank account in the first place, bring this paper and that paper and that paper and that paper. And if you don't have all the papers, the trusted third party, so they were a gatekeeper to money,
Yeah.
right? Well, Bitcoin is trustless. You see, we had to rely on trusted third parties like PayPal, Western Union, MoneyGram, banks, on and on, Venmo, Cash App. We had to rely on these trusted third parties who all take a slice, sometimes a not so small slice, put you through the ringer to figure out who you are,
Yep.
put your other friends through the ringer, and then take all your information and sell it and use it for their own advantage.
Forgot about that part.
Oh yeah, they sell your information. Right?
Forgot about that.
They're collecting all this massive financial data from you, financial and biographical and demographic data from you,
Yes.
and selling it for their own benefit. Right?
Yeah.
Why is Bitcoin trustless? Because here's the second aspect of Bitcoin, and it matches with the first one. Peer to peer. Peer to peer. Peer to peer. That means I have an internet connection. Stan has an internet connection. I push $1,000 straight to you, 1,000 of value straight to you. Let's say 0.1 Bitcoin. I push it straight to you, peer to peer.
And all you need is an internet connection. That's
All
it.
you need is
so
internet.
that's how I could explain it. So
Yes.
what it is peer to peer.
Peer to peer.
The question is, for example, if you do send me $1,000,
Yes.
and I'm in Russia,
Yes.
how would I be able to get cash?
Good question. Excellent.
And that is, I'm asking that because it scares a lot of people because they think it's somewhere and they cannot get cash.
Right. Well, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You can use a Bitcoin teller machine, also known as a BTM. You could go to a BTM.
Is there one in DC?
Oh yeah, several in this area.
Yeah, it's a lot over here. Not
oh,
where I live. It's not a lot where I live, but it's a lot.
You can look it
right
up,
here.
BTM locator or something like that.
Yeah.
On Google, and you can find it shows your map of all the BTMs, Bitcoin teller machines, all over. They're all over.
Some of them
They're all
sell
over the
Litecoin
world.
now.
Yep.
Yeah, some of them. They're
I
all
bought
probably
Litecoin
going to
that
do
way.
many of the. They're probably all getting many of the digital currencies, Litecoin, Ethereum, all of them, probably, right?
So
Bitcoin
you
teller
get
machine.
basically, how do you do it? You get some kind of card? ATM,
It
or-
depends. All right, so it depends on what type of ATM that you go to. Some of them they give you a paper wallet, and then the other ones you actually have to hook up your phone to the exchange. I don't know.
Well, I use the
Valerie gets
BTM.
that, so.
Well,
Yeah, I use the BTM and I use the QR code. So all I did was, QR code.
Right.
A QR code looks like a square.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Like
you
the
scan it.
barcode.
Yeah.
Right, like a barcode. So what you do is you log into your own wallet on your phone. I do not recommend having wallets on the phone. This was a one-time use case only.
Yeah, I did.
Accessed it on my phone. I do not keep wallets on the phone. Your phone is
Where do you
not
keep
safe.
it?
Oh, in a hardware wallet. So we'll talk about that in a moment. That's a good question. That's an excellent question. Storage. So yeah, it's so the QR code was on my phone. I scanned my phone right there,
Yeah.
right on the BTM. The BTMs that I've used don't even have buttons.
Wow.
Yeah, push. It's all on screen. Have you had buttons on yours? Mine's
the
all the
one
BTMs
where
I've
they
ever
had
seen are on screen. Have you?
The
had
last,
buttons?
yeah, the Litecoin one. Yeah, I had to press
Buttons.
Yeah, well, on the screen it was touch
On the screen,
Yeah,
touch screen.
Yeah, it was
But I'm
touch screen.
talking about like no buttons
No,
where
it
you
had
put
no
in your
buttons.
pin.
No,
Buttons like that. Like a regular ATM,
No,
no buttons.
no, none of the ATM.
Yeah.
No, none of the BTMs I
BTMs.
use do that. Everything is touch
BTMs,
screen.
everything is touch screen. There's no physical buttons on
Okay.
there, right? So it's all technology. So you just take your phone. It has the QR code on there. The QR code is inside your wallet.
Right.
So you either send or receive, just like that.
Just
You
like
tell
that.
it what you want to do, send or receive. So you put if you were sending Bitcoin, let's say you want to get some cash out, and they'll tell you on the website which ones give you cash
Okay.
and which ones don't. Some only take your cash and put Bitcoin in your wallet. Some will take your Bitcoin and give you cash.
Cash.
Oh, I haven't seen one of those, the conversion ones.
Yeah,
Okay,
some
I'm
give
gonna
you
look that up.
cash.
I ain't know, not that I'm, but I just would like to know.
So that's how
Might
you can
ask.
get the cash. That's one way to get the cash. Another way to get the cash is once I push you the Bitcoin, you could sell it on an exchange like Coinbase, and then Coinbase will
They'll put it in your
direct
account.
deposit it into your bank account.
Okay. Easy.
Easy.
Okay,
Yeah.
that one is-
Beautiful.
But Coach Brown, you said not to do that.
Well, I don't do it. We're talking about ways that you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, an
Right.
exchange can do that for you. I wouldn't do it, but that's
Why?
what you can. I don't do it because, to be quite honest, I don't like Coinbase. I view Coinbase as a necessary evil at this point, and I'm
Right.
waiting for someone.
So do you use it right now?
I do use it.
You have to.
Yeah, I use it. I use Coinbase, I use CoinMama, and the only reason they're on my website is because Coinbase performs a very necessary function that I haven't seen anyone else be able to do as good as Coinbase. Yet there are problems with Coinbase, which they're in a class action lawsuit right now,
Okay.
which is not surprising because when I was in financial services, they gave me a book that was about this thick. It looked like a phone book. And it was a book it was like a phone book with a soft cover and everything. Guess what it was? because I was buying the American Express franchise because I was an independent financial advisor with American Express, right?
Right.
So they had to disclose. Guess what that book was?
Disclosure?
Disclosure of what? What do you think was in that
All
book?
cases.
All the current lawsuits against American Express,
Wow.
American Express Financial Advisors, American Express Centurion Bank, American Express Cards, American Express Travel.
Are you serious?
The book was like this. The book was like that. The current lawsuits that had to be disclosed. I went through it. I was just cracking up. I think I still might have that book somewhere in storage. It's a hilarious what people were suing American Express for. I came into the office. I didn't like the wallpaper. I'm suing. See what? Stuff like that. A lot of it was very frivolous. A lot of it was very frivolous. And some of them were really true cases where maybe somebody defrauded them or whatever. Some of them were they didn't read the fine print. They didn't know that they could lose their money in the investment that they were in. That was buyer beware, right? However, I say that to say this. We live in a very litigious society, and they say 90%, somewhere between 80 and 90% of the attorneys operate in the United States. In the United States, you can sue anybody for anything at any time. I don't like your socks. Let's go to court.
Yeah.
And that's what people do. And it's my right. So the fact that they're in
That's my right.
yeah, that's how Americans think. They're very litigious, right? And they feel entitled, right? So right now there's a class action lawsuit, and I'm saying that to say that is not Coinbase is going out of business, not that. It's to say that this class action lawsuit could be one of many, and I believe that there will be other entrepreneurs who will come along and create something even better than Coinbase and do it better than Coinbase.
Right.
But right now we got Coinbase,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's go to peer-to-peer. So we have peer-to-peer, right? So trustless works with peer-to-peer. I don't need to trust a third party if I can just press the money straight to you. Push,
Yeah.
okay? Which brings us to the third fundamental of Bitcoin. It's a push, not a pull. Push, not pull. Bitcoin is push, not pull. And it's very important for us to understand this, and because then once you understand push, not pull, you will see how people are getting defrauded. This is starting to come clearly how people get defrauded with this whole Bitcoin thing.
Right.
Because it's push, not pull, no one can pull your Bitcoin out of any account.
You have
Now,
to give them the.
You must push it to them. There's no such thing as pulling Bitcoin to you.
Yeah, somebody has to send it.
So no
You
one
have to
can
push it.
invade your account. Like
No
how
one
the
can
government
seize your
come
account.
in and see.
If you
okay.
get that it's a push, not a pull, it's like, wait a minute, the IRS can't seize my account and pull my Bitcoin out.
But they can Coinbase, right?
Coinbase, let's talk about Coinbase right now. I tell you what, let's go through the 7 first and then put a note to talk about custodial versus non-custodial wallets. Please put a note to remind us to make sure we cover custodial versus non-custodial wallets, okay? Because Coinbase is a custodial wallet. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to keep money. I treat Coinbase like the supermarket, like Costco. That's it. That's exactly right. Buy your groceries and get out. Right. That's exactly right, Stan. Yeah.
So push is the same thing as decentralized or no?
No.
Okay.
We're going to get into that. So push means no one can go into your account and pull out your Bitcoin. Now, can somebody go into your account and pull out your money from your bank account?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about the Target hacks. So Target got hacked because Target had on file how many millions of credit cards? How many millions of credit cards?
5
So
or 6 or 7 or 8.
million, right? Credit cards. So now, if somebody has your credit card information, what can they do? Visa is a pull system, right? You give them access to your account. See, it works exactly opposite of Bitcoin. You give them access to come into your house, your financial house, and Target, go into my bank account, Target. You are opening the door to your bank account every time you swipe your Visa and debit card.
Right.
You're telling them, go into my bank account, and you hope they only take out $76.83 for your groceries.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They can take out whatever they want.
That's what the hackers do. That's how they hack all these places that have all these credit cards on file. And then what do? Go in and if they have 5 million accounts, they can go in and take 10 cents out of everybody's account. Who's going to know?
Right.
I
$1
used to work
out
at
of
a
every
bank.
account.
I used to work at a bank and a guy did that.
They do that all the time.
He
That's the
quit
best
his
way.
job, a millionaire, from taking
Absolutely.
one penny, and
A
the
penny.
bank couldn't do nothing. He walked out the bank like,
A penny. They do that all the time in the
One
banking
penny
system.
out of everybody's account.
Nobody's going to take $5 million out of somebody's
One
bank
penny.
account.
He was taking
yeah.
it from their account, put it in his. And I was like, how could the bank not do that? There was nothing.
Nobody is going to do that. You cannot do accounting down to pennies. No institution.
That is true.
Right?
I used to be a bank teller too.
No institution is going to be able to take their accounting down to pennies. There's just some stuff that you know goes through the cracks. It's going to get lost. It's not going to be accounted for. It's just a never land. That's where a nickel out of 5 million accounts, a 10 cents out of 10 million accounts.
I would take the time to do that. To get walk to one.
You don't do it,
but
but you don't do it manually. You set up a bot to do that. You can write a
bot,
program
yeah.
to do that.
Right.
Yeah, you can write a program to do that. So you're the program to do that. Why? Because all of us went to all the stores. How many stores did you go to today and give them, here's my bank account, and you open the door to your bank account and said, go in and get the money out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do what you need.
Get out whatever you need. And do you understand that there are at least 12 entities that are involved in one swipe
One swipe.
of your card?
Right.
It's going through a whole network
Yeah.
between you and the payment processor and the internet providers for the store
Right.
and the data people and
Merchant services.
all of
and,
that.
Yeah, it's a lot when you think about it.
Yes, and then it's sitting there. All your information is sitting there. Why are people so surprised that people get hacked all the time? Why are people surprised that your identity gets stolen?
Right.
Here's the other problem with the pull system. Your identity is connected to the charge.
Yeah.
Why do they need your identity to buy detergent?
When I just gave you the access to my bank account.
Right, but they want your identity
Yeah,
as
they
well.
want it all.
They
right.
want your identity as well as your money.
Right.
You don't need identity just to buy soap
So, right.
or anything in Target. Does Target need my identity at all?
No.
Not at all.
They just want
However,
the money.
yes,
Okay, so-
just give them the money, right? Why do you
When
need
go
my
with the
identity?
money, they don't need your ID. They don't say, yeah, let me get your ID. With
Right.
Your money.
No, with money they don't.
Exactly.
Yes.
So-
That's why a lot of countries are going cashless because they want the control. They want to be able to follow you digitally
Yes.
and then have a digital identity. And then if all your money is going through digitally, they can shut you down at any time they want to.
Anytime they want.
Anytime they want to.
They do it already.
They already
Just
do
like
it.
with that Easy Pass thing, that is the worst thing that you
Yeah.
could have.
And
I don't
what-
have Easy Pass. I was like, oh no, you're not tracking me
They
all
will
over the
send you a
country like
ticket in
that.
the mail if you get to the toll.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely.
They'll be like, oh, you were speeding.
Oh yeah. They
Ain't no way in the world you got there
They
that
track
fast.
you everywhere.
Yeah.
They will
I was like,
send
you're
you
not
a
tracking me
ticket
all
in
over.
the
And they put a
mail.
little
Yeah.
sticker on you and they just track you everywhere
Right.
you go. No, thank
Right. I was making
Purchases
purchases
different
in Las
places.
Vegas. They was like, what is she doing in Las Vegas?
Yeah,
They got
None of
shut
your
down your
business.
card.
None of your business what I'm doing in
Right,
Las
none of your
Vegas.
business what I'm doing here.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
But that's so we have identity connected. Why? Because the third party collected all that identity. We didn't need that, right?
right.
So we're peer to peer, and third one is push, not pull. So every Bitcoin transaction is a push transaction. You can't give somebody access. Oh, go into my Bitcoin account and pull it out. That's what happens when they ask for your private keys.
Right.
That's what they're doing. So what are private keys? Private keys and public key. Your public key is your Bitcoin address, right? That's where I would push money. So if I'm going to push you money, Stan, you give me your address. Well, what's your address? Just like if I'm sending you an email.
Yeah.
What's your email address, right? I send you an email. Same thing with Bitcoin. If I want to send you $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, I say, what's your address? Your Bitcoin address. You would give me your Bitcoin address. I go into my wallet. I push 1,000 Bitcoin to that address. And it's in your wallet. You see? Now, do you give anybody your email password? No way. So would you give anybody your private keys to your Bitcoin? No way. Right. So when you have companies like BitConnect that take your private keys or that hold your private keys, you're going to know that they're loving this filter. Oh my God, mwah, y'all are loving this filter, LuvTubers, right? So when you take your private keys and you give them to someone, you are basically saying, rob me, take my Bitcoin. Okay?
Yeah.
So you never give up your private keys. So now,
How do you know when you join something if they want your private keys? Do they just blatantly say we're gonna keep your private keys? Or
Well, that's a good question. So you study it. So here's the deal. Here's an easy way to determine. And now we can go into the custodial versus non-custodial. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it fits here. Custodial wallets means they hold your private keys for you. Non-custodial wallet means, right, I hold my private keys.
Right.
And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. You own it. You control it.
How do I get the wallet?
Oh, how do you get a wallet?
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
How do you get started?
Well, the way you get started is you start at a place like Coinbase.com, which is what we recommend, right? So Coinbase.com, an easy way to determine if it's a custodial wallet or non-custodial wallet is if you lose your password, what happens?
oh, that's it.
You're
Yeah.
done.
Right. In Coinbase, if you lose your password, what happens?
Oh, they
Yeah,
can
they'll
recover
help you
it.
They give it to you.
Right.
No problem. They act just like a bank.
Yeah.
Because they really are more part of the banking system. If you go to blockchain.info, which is a non-custodial wallet, right? Blockchain.info is a non-custodial wallet. Blockchain.info, if you lose your password, you just
it.
lost your
You
Bitcoin.
just lost your Bitcoin.
You are out of luck. Why? Look at the difference between how these two operate. Coinbase is a financial company that operates in the United States. They're headquartered in California, right? So a financial company means they have to abide by FinCEN. That means they have to do KYC, know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering. So they got to treat everybody like a terrorist. They got to ask you 50 million questions, 50 million ways to Sunday. You got to verify your address, verify your identity, upload a photo ID of you, right? The government
A
issue
piece
photo
of mail.
ID.
Was it a piece of mail?
They
with
asked
your
me for
address
my
on it?
bill, so
Yeah.
I sent them the outside, and they said it was not acceptable. They
Right.
wanted to see the bill.
Absolutely.
It's on Coinbase.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me
Coinbase.
too.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I showed
Well,
them
I did the
front,
license
outside.
back in the
Yeah, I did the license,
Yeah, the license.
too. But
Uh-huh.
I still think you had to have a part of your bank account, like the bank account address or something. The bank. I think I did my bank statement. My bank
Okay.
statement that
Your
showed
bank
my
statement.
address and my name.
Yeah.
Not the account number, but just my.
I
They
had
already
to
have
take
my
it
account
out.
number.
Yeah, they have your
That's
account
what I
number
had
because you
set
put your
up.
account number in.
Right.
Right.
So to put the money in Coinbase.
Right. So Coinbase is a custodial
Custodial.
wallet. That means they are taking custody of your Bitcoin. That means if there's a rogue employee at Coinbase,
Yeah.
they can take your Bitcoin. That mean, and a lot of people say that Coinbase is another Mount Gox just waiting to happen.
What is it?
Mount Gox, MT Gox, was the very first Bitcoin exchange, a
Okay.
big Bitcoin exchange back in like 2014, 2015,
Okay.
2013, Mount Gox, and they went out of business. They went bust, and it was a very bizarre story. And then they crashed the price of Bitcoin. They sort of did some market making and they get the price of Bitcoin way up to over 1,000. And then it crashed down to like $25 or
Oh,
something
they
like that.
purposely.
Oh
did
yeah,
it.
yeah, it was
Okay.
a pump. It was
Right,
a pump.
It was a pump.
Yeah, it was market manipulation so that they could sell at like a high and then it crashed, right?
Mhm.
Bitcoin has crashed 50 million times. But the heartbeat of Bitcoin, which we'll talk about in a few moments, is every 10 minutes. And Bitcoin has never missed its heartbeat in almost a decade.
Right.
And you tell me the financial markets, Wall Street closes every day at 4 p.m. and opens again at 9 a.m. Wall Street is closed most of the time. People think Wall Street is going all the time. Wall Street is closed most of the time.
Okay.
It's only open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4.
Oh, right.
But people think that Wall Street's going all the time. It's not, right?
Mhm.
Bitcoin, 24 hours. And when when there's a holiday, Wall Street is going even, you might as well say that's a part-time market.
Mhm.
New York Stock Exchange, you might as well say is a part-time market. Now the OTC markets, over-the-counter markets, which is the NASDAQ, that's 24/7.
Okay.
24/7 trading. However, Bitcoin has gone 24/7, 365 for almost a decade, and every 10 minutes hit another block. Every 10 minutes, never fail.
Okay.
Now that's astounding.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's astounding, and it's almost unheard of, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay. So yes, Stan.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what we love. We love discussion and questions.
Basically, as far as the
Blockchain.info.
and
Coinbase.com.
Coinbase, yeah.
Mhm.
So can I use the blockchain to buy,
Good question.
or is just strictly for storage use?
Okay, good question. So blockchain.info, before you could not buy at blockchain.info because blockchain.info is not a financial company, it's actually a tech company. That's why they don't have to do all the financial proof. You never had to upload anything to blockchain.info because they don't fall under all the same FinCEN rules because what they're doing is their technology. They are simply a technology company giving you access to the blockchain and to the client, the Bitcoin protocol, so that you can do your own stuff. They're sort of a bridge to help you do your own stuff, but at all times you have your own custody of all your own funds. On the other hand, Coinbase is a financial services company. They are a fiduciary, and a fiduciary holds your funds for you. And anytime you're going to hold money for other people in the United States, you're going to have to go through a whole lot of stuff to be able to do that. Because now you're a financial services company, right? So, blockchain.info, before you could not buy any Bitcoin in blockchain.info. Because once again, they don't do financial services. They're not a financial services company. But now they have partnered with another company inside of blockchain.info. And you see that now inside your blockchain.info, you can use another entity to actually buy Bitcoin.
Okay,
Have you
yeah.
seen that
I
lately?
think I have.
Yeah.
Shapeshift, right?
Is it Shapeshift? Or I think it's another one. Shapeshift has been in there for a while, I think. But I know there's a new partnership they have now where you can actually buy Bitcoin inside your blockchain.info account. I haven't used it yet. I've seen it and I've looked at it sort of a cursory overview. I did not look deeply into it. So I can't really speak to it because I haven't used it. But I probably will use it just to see how it works because I like to try things like that. So if you're on Coinbase, Coinbase is holding your Bitcoin. And this is what we know. They hold your Bitcoin. Whose Bitcoin is it?
Theirs.
Theirs. It might have your name on it. You hold your Bitcoin. Whose Bitcoin is it?
Mine.
That's right.
So even if you take it from Coinbase to GDAX, can the government still get into it? Can the government still
Well, Coinbase, if the IRS knocks on the door of Coinbase, Coinbase is going to give them everything. We've already seen that. So the IRS
Is
did
it
come
taxable?
knocking. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's
but
taxable.
only when you withdraw it, right?
Taxable capital gains, just like capital
Oh,
gains
And
is
trading
taxed.
now. They put it on
And trading? Okay.
Wow.
I don't know how that's going to
Well,
all of that, but
Yeah, well,
It
that's
was-
how capital gains works on trades. Trades and everything. Yeah, capital gains means you bought an asset at one price and you got a capital gain on it, and now you pay tax on the
Right,
gains.
on the gain.
Yeah, capital gains tax. So anyway, when you look at Coinbase and when you look at blockchain.info, neither one of them do you want to keep money in for a very long time. But I would more, if I was keeping money hanging around on a hot wallet means it's on the internet, I would more keep it in blockchain than in Coinbase. You see what I'm saying? Because Coinbase, they have your private keys. They are holding your private keys. In blockchain, you are holding your private keys. You see the very big distinction?
Right.
It's a very big distinction. Any questions about that or any thoughts on that?
I was going to ask something. It's a lot of information. Okay, this is what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So let's, just for me,
Yeah.
basic. I'm going on Coinbase.
Yes, go on Coinbase,
And
buy.
I decided to invest $5,000,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do I transfer my money from Coinbase to blockchain, right? That's
Yeah,
what I
you
need
could
to
do it. You could push it straight.
Like basically how to create a wallet if that's the question.
Okay, so when you open the account, you automatically have a wallet
Okay,
with Coinbase and with blockchain.
Right.
oh, it's automatic.
Automatic.
Okay,
It's a wallet. Yeah,
Okay.
you automatically have a wallet. So now on Coinbase, if you want to buy it with your bank account on Coinbase, you can push it to blockchain. I will push it to blockchain.info until I buy the ultimate security, which is a cold wallet, which is a Trezor bought from Trezor.io, not from eBay, not from Amazon. A real Trezor. People have bought Trezors from
Oh,
eBay
yeah. Thank God.
trying to save $30
Right.
and wound up losing $30,000 worth of Bitcoin.
And How much does it take?
$59, $69 for a Trezor.
I don't know how much a Trezor. I know I
89?
paid like $80 for my Nano.
Nano. Then you can get a Trezor.io. Go to Trezor.io. Do not buy a Trezor from anywhere else other than Trezor.io. And then the one is Nano Ledger.
Nano Ledger is also it's a good one.
Yeah, Nano Ledger.
That's also a good one. That's more it's
And
more
the third
upgraded, right, than a Trezor, is it?
Well, I don't know.
Mine looked it was all digital.
Trezor is all digital too.
Okay, so yours
Oh,
was
yeah.
all right.
Oh yeah,
But the
It's
Nano
not
Blue-
analog, it's digital, not analog.
oh no,
Okay.
all of them are digital.
The
The
Nano Blue,
Nano
is the one
Blue
that's not
looks
what I
like
want.
a personal
It's not
security
available,
device. It
right?
looks like a phone. That thing is fly. They don't have it yet.
Okay.
Every time I check on the Nano Blue, it's not. That's the one I want.
Right.
I want the Nano Blue. It's
Yeah.
like got a screen on it. It's actually something that most people will probably carry around, a personal security device where you can put all kinds of cryptocurrencies on it.
On it, right.
Which you can put a lot on Trezor as well. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But Nano, here are the three. Trezor.io,
Uh-huh.
Nano Ledger,
Where you buy that at?
yeah, Nano.
Where do you buy it? At Nano?
Oh, Nano Ledger, what is it? Ledgerwallet.io?
Yes, Ledger Wallet.
Ledgerwallet.io. Ledgerwallet.io. Make sure you share this with all of your people who are just starting crypto.
Yeah.
From the actual website,
Right.
not
You
like
have to get it from
Right.
never eBay and Amazon. Never eBay and Amazon.
Ledger Wallet.
Ledgerwallet.io.
And then the Nano Blue
The Nano Ledger makes the Nano
and the Nano.
and the Blue.
Okay.
Okay, and the third one is Keep Key.
Keep.
Key, like keeping a key.
Okay.
Keep Key, is it .io or .com?
I never used that one.
Okay, Keep Key. I cannot speak to Keep Key.
Okay.
I've never used it. I don't know what it's like. Explore it. Do your research on all of these. I use Trezor. I
Okay.
love Trezor. I love it, love it, love it. I have not used a Nano. I can't speak to Nano.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people in the crypto space use Nano. They love Nano. Okay? Nano works. Trezor works. The key is that you are taking it off the internet.
Right.
That's the most important thing.
Right.
Right. Because any wallet on the internet ultimately is not a safe wallet.
Right.
Period. Every place has been hacked. Some places many times. Every place has been hacked. And if it hasn't been hacked yet, it's about to be hacked. Did y'all see? Yeah, it's about to be hacked. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that how you want to look at it? If it hasn't been hacked yet, it's probably going to be hacked tomorrow.
Right.
That's the way you have to look at it. This is all digital. And let me ask you a question. If you were a hacker, where would you go?
Where they have a lot of money.
Right.
Wouldn't you go to exchange like Bitfinex or something like that?
Yeah.
So what was the hack the other day? They just had a hack. Was it Bitfinex or was it, and it was not Bitfinex's fault at all. This hack was so smart. When I heard how they did this hack, I said, well, that's a brilliant hack. You got to give these hackers some,
You gotta
some
give
credit
them some credit.
because they be on the game.
Yes.
That's why you have to be on your game with locking down all of your
Right.
value
Right.
and knowing what you're doing because these hackers, they know what they're doing.
Right.
This is what the hackers did. Bitfinex, there's this software inside of BitConnect that you can use for trading.
Okay.
And this trading software inside of BitConnect, you have given it permission to trade on your behalf.
Ooh.
But traders use it all the time
Right.
because it's going to execute trades when they're not sitting
When they're
there
not sitting
based on
there.
what they set up.
Right. But that's not
Buy and sell, right?
Yeah, you can do that on
Market
Kraken.
limit orders, all these different orders.
Binance does it too.
All the
trading.
yeah, all the
All the exchanges do it?
exchanges do that. Mostly all exchanges do that
okay.
because people trade.
Right.
And there's a trading software in there. This was such a smart hack. They, for months, you see, they can be planning a hack attack for months. For months, they were doing phishing. Phishing is when you think you're at the website, but you're not really at the website,
right.
but you put in all your credentials. So they got your credentials. So let's say they took 6 months to collect credentials from people. Oh, this was a coordinated, smart hack. This was not no little overnight.
It's an inside job, Coach Val.
Could have been an inside job, but it was very smart.
It's an inside job.
And not only was it planned, they were patient. And you gotta respect patient thieves because they plot out and they plan. It's like Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 12.
Oh,
Those people
that's beautiful.
I mean, that's what that's about.
That's just art.
You just, it is art.
That's art.
You just have to respect
I respect that.
that they plotted this
That
thing.
is art.
You just gotta respect that they put this thing together. So for months they were fishing. So they were collecting credentials. So once they collect the credentials, they can see who had this trading software on their account. Now I don't have it.
Right.
Who had the
You
trading
have to get
software on their
permission,
account?
right, for it to do that.
Yes,
Okay.
to trade on my behalf.
On my behalf, right.
And then one day, they struck, and they did all these trades at once, where the all yeah, right. Where all these people did these trades because they had told the bots what to trade
Okay.
and to send these trades through so that they got the money. It was going to them.
Right.
Out of these people's accounts.
Right.
And all these trades were all executed at the same time. It was like Bitfinex was like, whoa, wait a minute,
What's going on?
and then it
Right.
shut down everything because it caught on
Right.
that something
It's wrong.
out of the ordinary was going on.
Right.
But by then, how many trades had they
How many
already
they got through,
executed?
right?
And that the people lost their money?
Well, Bitfinex, I believe, caught it in such time. I don't know what the outcome is yet. You know, if everybody was able to recover it or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But this was a coordinated hack
Right.
that absolutely worked. And it was such a smart idea.
Right.
It's such a smart, isn't that a brilliant idea?
That's
Right.
straight up inside job.
Maybe.
Maybe, I mean, some people just like.
Some people
How they
just-
know? But how you know all that? You have to be sitting. Yeah, but you have to get a picture of the inside.
Oh, no, you don't have to get a picture inside. No, you don't.
Cause
You
once
just
you know
put
the
software,
mechanics.
collect
Yeah.
information.
Exactly.
And the most important thing, be patient.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It
So-
took them something like 6 months to pull this.
Right. So Coach Val, would
Yeah.
you,
Patient
like,
things.
you know,
Yeah,
we're
they were
talking to
patient.
people and, you know, we're telling them about Bitcoin and would a safe thing to say is really don't even get involved, of course, until you've done your homework,
Yeah.
but until you get a hard wallet.
I would say not so much a hard wallet, but if you have an amount of money in there that you don't want to part with,
Okay.
like $100, $50,
Right.
$10, who cares?
Who cares, right?
If you have an amount of money that you don't want to part with,
Right,
put it in a place where you will not part with it,
right,
which is your own hardware wallet.
right, okay,
Nothing else is going to suffice.
right.
Nothing else.
So even before you consider buying, you should probably get a wallet.
A
right?
hard wallet, yeah, that's what I'm
And
thinking.
that's what we
Yeah.
just talked about, all this blah blah, Tracer and Ledger wallet.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
I'm down reason from
I love this too. I love this. Stan
I
is
know.
like, oh
Stan
yeah,
is
I'm
on
getting
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Stan is like, Stan is like, I'm cracking the code on this one.
No, actually, I'm asking for my friend.
Okay.
His husband is a fucking idiot. I don't know,
Yeah,
thanks.
it happens.
Um,
A lot of people get taken
she
in this
gave him-
space. A lot, even smart people.
Right,
He invested her ex-husband,
Okay.
but she basically invested $800. Was 8 years ago into Bitcoin.
$800 8 years ago in Bitcoin.
oh my goodness.
It's probably worth hundreds of thousands of dollars right
That's
now.
what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
So the question is, I feel horrible for her because this idiot,
yeah.
I don't know what kind of conventional, what kind of wallet he used. So what are you saying? If he bought it off
Amazon.
An exchange,
Coinbase,
Coinbase.
even if he lost the password,
He could get the password.
he can get it,
Yeah,
right?
he can get the
Yeah.
He
password.
can get the,
Sure,
okay.
sure.
And also,
But I don't even think Coinbase was around 8 years ago. I don't think.
Yeah.
okay, so what
Or-
was it?
It could have been MT Gox. If it was Mt. Gox, which was pretty much the only Bitcoin exchange back in 8 years ago that I can think of, Bitcoin would have only been
Okay.
a year old. There was no Coinbase yet. If he bought an MT Gox, that's gone. That money's gone. There's a lawsuit going on with the people
Yeah.
that lost money in Mt. Gox. It blew up and it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
So okay, so basically, if it wasn't Coinbase, she's screwed. There's no way to recover it.
I can't say for sure, but my guess would be
Okay,
because
I'm
the
just-
only
just wanted to
exchange
ask
here for
my-
8 years ago,
What was the name?
MT Gox. Ask if it was MT Gox or Mt. Gox.
MT.
MT Gox, GOX. Yeah, and you can research the MT Gox debacle. It was a debacle. It was a fallout. It was pretty bad. Everybody lost their money. And most of the people that are in MT Gox, were in MT Gox, they did not get their money back. Here's the double trustee of the MT Gox funds selling Bitcoins. Have you seen it?
No.
The trustee, there's a trustee of all the MT Gox Bitcoins. He's selling them now because he saw that they went so high. So he's selling them so that they could pay off the creditors and take care of people. However, he sold so many that it crashed the market. That's what the crash was about.
Wow.
Oh, wasn't there like
The
2 weeks
recent
ago?
crash.
Yes, because he sold like 1,000.
Right.
1,000 Bitcoin.
Wow.
1,000 Bitcoin is a lot of Bitcoin.
$20,000. Wow.
It's a lot of Bitcoin. And then he sold 2,000 Bitcoin. And then he sold something like 4,000 Bitcoin.
Is he an idiot?
No. But one would wonder.
Right.
Yeah, like he sold like millions and millions and billions. So
Millions of dollars of Bitcoin.
yeah.
Because he saw, as a trustee, that's his
Right.
job.
That's his job.
He's got to sell the assets that he's the trustee of,
the
he
law.
or she or they
Right.
are the trustee of,
Yeah.
at a profit so that they can restore people and make people whole.
Right.
But what they don't understand is the mechanics of Bitcoin, that it just crashes the market.
Right.
And he started, it looked like he started panic selling.
Right,
Like,
right.
let me sell another 4,000
Right.
before the whole thing bottoms out. But you the one causing
You
the
the
thing to
one
go
causing
down.
the crazy.
Exactly.
Oh, so that's why it dropped so
From-
Yeah, you
From
can
20
see.
from
You can
20
see.
to
Somebody,
10,
I
right.
think, on Reddit or Twitter, they did an exact correlation of all the sales from the MT Gox custodians,
Oh, wow.
trustees, and choop, 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 choop.
Wow.
And there were some people that are watching this that were also invested in MT Gox. And they're like, that's just a double slap in the face. Because not only are you not giving us our Bitcoin back that was in there, you crashing the Bitcoin we have now.
We have left, right.
Oh wow.
And then
Can you
they're,
imagine?
and they say that they're going to make people whole when you
That's
have
what they
those
say.
Ponzi schemes
So let's see.
and stuff. But they never make people whole.
No, they don't
You
make
only
you
get
whole.
a portion.
Right.
Right.
Because the attorneys get a third
Yeah.
of it. The
Yeah.
attorneys get a third. That's just bar none. You cut it in thirds, the attorneys are getting a third.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is that these Bitcoin, they have gone so much up in value that Mt. Gox should have no problem
Paying people.
paying everyone
Yes.
plus interest for their
Mhm.
8 years or 6 years
Shouldn't.
of issues.
But it won't work out that way enough.
So let's see what happens, because it's all still, and a lot of people in that class action suit, they said they haven't seen a penny yet.
Yeah. Because I used to watch American Greed all the time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they break that Ponzi scheme stuff down to the nitty gritty.
Oh, don't they break it down?
And people put their life savings in, and when the dust settles and they're trying to pay people
They don't
off,
get their money
you
back.
never get what you put in.
Never.
They just give you a little something.
A
Like,
little something.
People lose their lives. Everything.
And it's
then-
not,
Mhm.
what they give you is nowhere near
Nowhere
what you
near
put
making
in.
you
Might be
whole.
10% of what you put in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
it's very sad.
Yeah. If you watch The Wolf of Wall Street,
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Uh-huh.
yeah.
that.
And if you watch the Bertie Madoff story,
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally saw that.
that
Wow.
Bertie Madoff story, didn't he
Yeah.
play that role?
Yes.
Mhm.
He
Bertie
was good.
Madoff, he played that role. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But how he went into jail and had the best time in his life.
Yeah. And they have no grief. They,
They
have
have
no
a
remorse.
I was like, so this was his, he ruined people's lives.
A federal
Yeah.
And he
prison-
go into jail and now he's sitting like, yeah, I'm in my spot. This is where I belong.
Right.
I was like, what?
Well, he's in a federal prison. A federal prison is the same place where Martha
Right. Martha Stewart.
Stewart
Uh-huh.
went. White collar people don't go to
Don't
prison.
go-
Yeah, they
Same-
don't go to
They don't go to
regular,
the
yeah.
prison that,
Yeah.
that other blue
What
collar
do they call
criminals
it? They
go
call
to.
it
It's
Country
they
club,
have a
federal country club.
Yeah, federal,
Federal
country
prison,
club.
yeah.
Yes, federal prison. Okay, so now let's get to the custodial versus non-custodial. So we understand that, right?
Mhm.
When you get your hardware wallet, cold storage is the best
Right.
because cold storage is off the internet. So that's all those wallets. And the reason we call it cold is because it's not on the internet.
Yeah.
It's like cold when you take it off the internet. When it's on the internet, it's hot.
Right.
It's hackable.
I don't understand.
Okay.
Is
So
it like physical device?
yeah, it's a physical device.
I'm talking to Brent mine.
Yeah. As a
Yeah,
matter
that's
of
what
fact,
you wrote down with the Trezor and the.
you know
those
what?
are
I'll ask
hardware.
Amira. I'll
Also, how would
ask.
you advise people procure these? I mean, definitely not on Amazon.
Oh yeah, we said that several times.
Uh-huh.
Never get
So all
a.
those things that I wrote down, that was cold wallet things.
Cold
Yeah.
wallet.
Cold
yes.
wallet. Sorry, guys, please.
Also-
No,
Yeah,
no,
ask
it's
all
okay.
the questions. That's why we
Okay.
had this conversation.
That's what everything.
Yeah,
That's
we've been
right.
doing this.
Oh yeah,
We
and
want
we
she did
gotta
this
keep
with us
talking
already.
about
We doing it again.
and we doing it again.
again.
And we keep asking questions until everyone's clear and until we really are. This is money.
Yes.
We've got to be clear about this because
Mhm.
this is high stakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
This
That's
is
right.
not popcorn. This is
No.
money that
This
we
is
work
help
for.
a lot of
You don't wanna-
people.
you don't wanna-
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
Uh-huh.
what do I do? Okay, so I
Go on
open,
Coinbase.
Coinbase.
You can buy it.
okay.
Mhm.
But before that, I go and try to get a cold wallet.
Yeah,
right?
get a cold
Yeah,
wallet.
get a cold
Right?
wallet.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
also
it's
call it
gonna
a
take a
Does
hard
it come in
ticket.
the mail? Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's mailed to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, these are good questions.
These are good
Yeah, it comes in the
questions.
mail.
So it comes in the mail.
Mhm.
After that, I buy Bitcoin, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What is my next step?
Oh,
Okay, excellent. So let's say now you ordered your hardware wallet. You have your Trezor. I'm actually going to ask Tania to go get the Trezor for us so we can show it.
So, okay.
Okay. So I did the unboxing too on the channel. So
Okay.
look at the video for the unboxing of the Trezor. So you have it in Coinbase. You're going to get your Trezor, and your Trezor has step-by-step instructions on how to set it up.
Okay.
And one of the most important things question.
No,
Stay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Most important thing?
Yeah, the most important thing is writing down your passphrase.
Yeah, passphrase. Yes.
Passphrase, right?
Yes.
It's gonna be like 22 words or something like that, right? Yes,
22
22?
words or
Yeah.
22 characters?
words.
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 Wow.
Now,
Okay.
what this is doing is, if something happens to that device, falls in the water, gets lost, gets crushed, you don't know where it is, you can recover all the funds that are on
yeah,
that
that's
device
important.
with your passphrase.
That's important. Passphrase important.
So when you get the passphrase, what are you gonna do with the device and the passphrase? You're gonna have them in two different places.
Places,
You're not gonna have the passphrase together with the device all nice and neat together.
Of course not.
Right. Because if something, if it
Mike,
gets.
Mike make it walk and just put it everywhere in your house.
Yes. I'll be putting it
Now,
everywhere.
the passphrase you don't share with anyone
Right.
because if they had the passphrase, they could steal your money.
That's what's happening on Amazon with these people.
That's what happens on Amazon. So what happens is they buy it, they go to Trezor.io, let's say they go to Nano, and they buy a real Nano. They get the Nano, they program their own words into it,
Right.
and then they seal it up like it's a real fresh Nano from the
Right.
factory.
Okay.
And then they go on eBay and sell it. Hey, Nano Ledger, not $89, $59.
Right.
People buy it for $59, and someone bought that Ledger Nano. They put $30,000 worth of Bitcoin on it, and the person used the passphrase to take.
Because he already programmed it.
They already programmed the
So the
passphrase.
moment, oh, wow, that's crazy.
So
you
that
don't want to buy it from Amazon.
No,
Another
not
place,
Amazon.
eBay. Nobody.
that Nano will wind up costing somebody $30,059
Wow.
because you didn't want to spend $89.
Right.
I would cry.
But
I
this is
don't
what
know
we're
how long I would
always
cry, but I would just
telling
cry.
people.
You would cry, right?
I would cry like a little girl.
I'm
You cry
crying.
like a baby. Ooh.
Yes.
You'd be crying like a baby. Isn't that heartbreaking? But all of this can be avoided.
Yes.
All of
That's
this
what I
with
was thinking.
proper education.
And consciousness.
And
Check
yes.
your consciousness.
Yeah. Go.
That's
get
You're
some-
investing.
Oh, do I want something to drink? Sure, bring me a tea, please.
Which one?
Anyone with a little sugar. I need tea. It's fine.
You're investing your money.
This is your money.
You know, some people it's your life savings.
Life savings.
And you're gonna have
It just hurts me when I see
$30.
Yeah, haggle over.
Yeah, you
59
gotta check
rather
your
than 89.
consciousness, Right.
Yeah, it's a deal.
Yeah. Deal.
That's not a deal.
That's not a deal.
That's not a deal.
Right, exactly. For
Right.
your peace of mind.
And I give you another example with what you said, Phoenix, that there was a gentleman who had $100 worth of Bitcoin, and he put it in a wallet, simple wallet like blockchain.info, that can be hacked. People can, bum rush your password. What do they call that? Like they just
What do they call that?
keep, what do they call it? They force your password. It's
not
like brute
phishing,
force.
but it's-
Yeah,
Brute force. They just brute force your password. Brute force, yeah. Brute force your password by just trying a whole bunch of different colors and a lot of different combinations, and they brute force the password. He had a 2-letter password.
Ooh.
The guy got his money taken.
2-letter password. 2
How
letters.
did they even let him do 2 letters?
AB, let's say. Or you know how people do, they're not thinking about it, and they're not thinking that this is gonna be
It's easy to
anything.
Google.
Yeah, let me just, $100. Let me just throw $100 in there.
Right.
Just put a little password, I'll be back.
I'm scared about this
The
story.
Bitcoin,
I'm so scared.
we already know how this story ends.
We know how
Bitcoin
it ends.
went to
I'm
over
just
$1
mad
million.
about how much he lost.
Over $1 million. Oh yeah, over $1 million. Because when he bought the $100 worth of Bitcoin was like probably not
Nonsense.
even,
Nothing.
pennies. Because the first
Right.
stated price of Bitcoin was something like 50 cents or
Was
something
it
like
50?
that.
I thought it was like
25
9
cents or 10 cents, something like it was in the cents. It was
Right,
under $1.
cents, Yeah.
So he bought $100 worth and did not protect it. They brute forced his password when it got all his Bitcoin out, $1 million some worth. It was a huge amount of Bitcoin. And you know what he said? He said, I did not protect it like it was $1 million worth. I put $100 worth of security on $1 million worth of Bitcoin.
Yes.
That's how you have to think.
Yeah. And I think, I was just thinking about that, and they probably have software that can research, like, how often people check their accounts and things
Oh yeah, they
like
have
that.
bots on it
And
all the
those
time.
are the ones they probably really go for, because they ain't checked that thing in 2 years.
So it's got to be high.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because they're not even thinking about it.
Plus, you don't even have to check the accounts. We're going to go to the next one. The next step in Bitcoin is that it's open source.
Open source, okay.
So all you have to do is look at the Blockchain Explorer. You can go back to look at the Blockchain Explorer, and you can look and see when Bitcoin went into this account and it never came out. Then
Right.
you know it's still in that account.
Exactly. So then, yeah.
You
so
can
there's
do
some
different
kind of,
addresses.
Right.
Yeah, you can look at the blockchain, and
Yeah.
there's a whole science now of blockchain forensics,
Right.
like studying the blockchain to
Mhm.
come to certain conclusions because it's all open. It's on the blockchain. Okay, so what do? You get it. You buy it in Coinbase. You get your Trezor and you set up your Trezor, your hardware wallet, right?
Is it okay? Is it a different wallet than something what I get in the mail, Trezor?
No, it's exactly
That's
that
what we're
is the
talking
wallet.
about.
Yep.
Oh.
And Zaire, could
Yes,
you
ma'am.
go right upstairs and bring us the green love bag hanging on the top of the cart? No, not that one. The green one that says love, because my Trezor is in it. I'll show the Trezor.
Green bag that says,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
I want her to plug this in before the computer.
Okay, thank you.
I was
So
gonna
she'll bring the
ask,
Trezor.
If those Trezors that they bought for that cheap price, instead of
I don't know if
buying
it's a
the
Trezor or a
89,
Nano.
Oh,
I think it was a
well,
Nano.
that hard, let's say that hard.
Yeah, the
wallet.
hardware wallet. Yeah.
So that should have been a red flag too if they got
Why
it
is it
and they
cheaper?
and they didn't have to set it up. Because in order for that person to still have that passphrase that worked, they never had to set it up and put their own passphrase.
But if you don't know
right,
that
if you
that's
don't
part of the
know.
setup process.
So that's the key. If you don't have to set up your own passphrase or set up,
And that's the truth.
that's wrong.
If you don't go through all
Right.
the steps.
Yeah.
And of course they didn't put the instructions in there that would
Exactly.
take you through the steps.
Right.
And they just, maybe they put some fake instructions in there. We don't know.
We don't
because
know.
these people are smart.
Yeah.
They maybe typed up some fake instructions, put it inside, and you don't know. That's why ignorance really gets a lot of people in this market.
No.
Know what's going on. Okay, so you get the hardware wallet, which Tania is going to show us the hardware wallet. Yeah, the green bag with love. You can just bring it here. I know exactly.
No,
what it is.
everybody talks about it. I just want to see what it looks like.
See what it looks like, yeah. And so once you have the the Trezor, it takes you through, it's very simple to set up. Your grandmother can set it up. Very simple to set up. Actually, I'm a grandmother and I set it up. So anyway.
I put 2 sugars in there, but I gave you 2
Oh,
others.
thank you. What kind of tea is this?
That's green tea. They don't have no
Ooh,
more turmeric
lovely.
and ginger. I guess
Green
we
tea.
eat on.
Thank you.
Well, we only 2 when we got up.
Oh yeah, so that means we had turmeric and ginger.
Oh, that's
I
delicious.
want to say coffee tea bag.
Thank you. That's delicious.
Show that too.
Thank you, thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay, so because you are setting it up, you have your passphrase, like 22 words, let's say, right? You write out, they give you a little card,
Okay.
and you write each word on the card, and they show you the words one at a time.
Right.
Word 1, tree. Write down tree.
Right.
Word 2, cube. And it has 1, 2, right next to number 2, cube. Word 3, disc.
So you're
Right
not
there.
making it up yourself.
No, they give them to you.
Oh.
Yes, they give you the whole thing in the setup of your Trezor. This is how mine work.
Okay.
Yeah, they give it, then they show, and when you're ready, and they tell you like 3 times, write this down.
Right.
If you don't write this down, you could lose all your money.
Right.
Write this down. Put it in a safe place. They say it like 3 times. Did you have a Trezor?
I have a nano.
You have a
Yes.
Did they do the same thing?
Yeah.
Pretty much. If you don't write this down, you are going to risk losing all of your money. Write this down. The passphrase is the money
Right.
because the device is not really the money. Because you can lose the device,
But if you got
but
the
if
passphrase,
you have that passphrase, the passphrase is the money, not the device. Thank you so very much. Okay. Any questions about that before we go further?
We
And
still
we're
up
gonna
to number
show
3,
you-
right? I didn't miss anything, right?
We're still up to number 3, but I was getting ready to give you number 4. Okay? Come on, Nano. We just moved out of the office today because we're moving into a brand new office. And I put my Nano in here. But to tell you the truth, I'm not ever concerned about where my Nano is because I know where my passphrase
right,
is.
exactly.
So I'm okay with that.
You said your nano or your Trezor?
I mean my Trezor.
Okay.
My Trezor is in here. So pardon me for a moment while I get the Trezor out. Pardon me. We just moved our office today. Give me a moment. Get out the love bag. That's the love. Can you see the love bag? Give me a moment. I'll get you the Trezor. Come to me, Trezor. Here it is.
Woo.
So you can hold it. There you go. Okay. And you see it comes with a USB. Hook it right to your computer.
Right.
It looked like an MP3.
Very easy. And it even came with a little keychain because some people carry it around on the keychain because if they want to spend their Bitcoin, you can spend your Bitcoin right from your Trezor.
Right.
I don't.
Can you do it right from the nano too?
Yes, I believe you can.
I don't know how to do it.
I don't do
I'm
that.
not that advanced yet, so I don't do stuff like that. I keep it in the house.
Hello. Keep it locked down.
Right. Clean.
And you see, this can go anywhere. It doesn't matter where this goes. So let me hold the Trezor up for everyone to see it. Here's a Trezor. And anytime I want to go online, I hook this to the computer. So you can just take this apart. And you can put this anywhere. You could have millions on this. Millions.
Yeah.
Doesn't that feel good? And then you just put it in and you once you hook it to your computer, the software comes up. You go to Trezor, you activate it, and it comes up and it'll just start asking you questions and you just start pressing the little button, and then it'll tell you
Asking you questions
like
talking
is this you?
or
Oh no,
screen?
on the screen,
Oh, okay.
on the little screen.
Okay.
So simple. This will save people millions. If more people had this, their money would be so safe.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing online that you might. What'd you say?
My friend who was screwed up
Wow.
8 years ago, $700, 7 years ago.
$700 7 years ago in Bitcoin's got to be, what would you say, millions? That's 7 years ago? Bitcoin probably was at 20.
7 years
700
ago, it
7
probably
years
was.
ago.
Let me see.
$20?
Yeah, 20.
10, 15, $20?
Yeah.
That's probably
Definitely
millions
some-
by now.
Yeah.
$700? But everybody, I do want to say this, everybody has got Bitcoin horror stories.
I
bought
lost
Me
$40.
too.
I bought $1 million
I lost
cups of coffee.
$40.
So I mean, hey, I was using Bitcoin left and right,
I
left and right,
know.
left and right, left and right, left and right. I'm sure by now I bought $1 million cups of coffee.
Yeah.
So what can you do,
Right.
right? You can't go
It's
back and
only
change the
$9.
past.
Yeah, I would
Can't go
usually
back
have
and change the
six
past.
figures
Just
by
go
now.
and
Yeah.
buy some more. So when you put it, so you have the card, and on the card you write out each word, and then it's going to test you. It's going to say, what was word 7? You give it word 7. What was word 13? You give it word 13. What was word 4? You give it word 4. Because you want to have the exact numbers, the words, in the exact right order. Okay? And then you lock that down somewhere. Make 2 copies of it. I made 2 copies of it. They have 2 cards in there. I made 2 copies of it. That's your money. The passphrase is your money. If you lose that, you don't have your money. Okay? You take 2 copies of them. And here's a very ironic thing. You could actually put one in a safe deposit box at the bank. The bank is very bad with keeping your money safe. But apparently, people do have their Bitcoin in the bank.
Wow.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, that is.
That they're very bad because the bank is very bad at digital security, but they're very good at physical security because they've been
Makes
doing
a lot of
physical.
sense.
Yeah, they've been doing physical security for 75, 80 years. They've used to locking down gold, so they have fireproof because you want to put it someplace where it's fireproof, waterproof unless you wrote with waterproof ink, right? You wrote this out with waterproof ink.
They have that?
Yeah, they have waterproof ink.
So
So
in 2012, one Bitcoin was $13.
Damn.
2012, let's do the
Do the
math.
calculation.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Do the calculation.
I'm like, okay,
$13.
Freaking painful to even know
If
that.
it was-
$700 divided by 13, 61
well,
Bitcoin.
did he say 800?
$700.
700.
700.
That's the 7.
Okay. That's, so I don't feel
It's better
so
than
bad.
800.
700 divided by 13, which is 53.8 Bitcoin.
53 Bitcoin.
Right, 53 Bitcoin. So
Hit
right.
it to 20,000 because at least went to 20,000.
Hit it times 20,000.
Okay.
That's it. Because
So
it did go to
53
20,000 at a
times
point.
20,000. $1,060,000.
Oh.
$60,000.
I
Don't
figured it would
tell
be a
her because
million.
she gonna
$1,060,000.
die.
Yeah, don't tell her
Don't
she's a
tell her.
millionaire.
Don't tell her.
Yeah,
Don't
you
tell
can't-
her she was a
find the
You
millionaire.
can't tell her that.
Just
Even,
help her find her stuff.
even
Don't tell her.
at,
I just wanted to know.
even at
Because somebody,
53,
I would have a heart attack over that.
but even at 53 times 9,000, what would it be now?
53 times 9,000.
Still $500,000. I knew it was several $100,000, yeah. Or a million.
53 times 9,000 is $477,000.
So somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million.
$500,000 and $1 million.
Yeah.
You feel
And
it, huh?
the
Yeah, you
story's
feel
not
it.
over yet
You could help her.
because 1 Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million.
Right.
No question.
No question.
You think so?
Oh, I know
Yes.
so. Oh, I know so.
I doubt it.
How
Oh,
long
I
is it
know
going to
so.
take?
I don't know. But
Yeah, we don't know. But it will go to $1
It's
million.
like electricity device.
I would
So
love
let's
it.
go to
So
number
that's
4.
another thing.
Okay. Yeah,
If you
let's go.
buying Bitcoin, like we had this conversation
more
about
customer
checking our
back.
consciousness because initially my consciousness was another level, and I was thinking I could get my money, like if I had a hardship, which we don't have
Oh.
hardships in this group.
Right, no, we don't believe in that.
How could I get my money out of it to get myself back up and rolling? But for me, at this stage in my consciousness, if I ever buy, well, I'm gonna buy Bitcoin, but while I'm buying Bitcoin, taking it out is not even.
It's not an option.
It's not an option.
No, I holler.
Everything that I buy, I don't care if I buy $20 every week. I will never take Bitcoin out again.
Yeah,
Ever.
me either. I don't spend Bitcoin at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Right.
I hodl.
So,
Hodl means
so you
hold.
guys think, when is the best time to actually buy? Do you think it's like
Now.
right now?
Now is always the best time to buy
Now.
Bitcoin. Right now.
It's
Bitcoin
down.
is on
No,
sale.
that's
really,
the
really
answer
on
all the
sale.
time.
All the
Actually,
time.
that's a pertinent question to ask because I do know a specific day of the week is like usually Friday. It seems to dip a little bit.
Oh, because people selling
Okay.
it because they want. That sounds logical.
Okay, so let's see.
I think it's
I know.
March.
But it
But
dropped last
I
night.
had to do a
No, but
survey
last
on
night
that,
I'm gonna tell you.
study.
Yesterday, not last night.
Yeah, you can do a
Yeah.
technical analysis on that to find out.
Uh-huh.
There is definitely a dip every December
Mm.
before Chinese New Year. You told me about that, right, Zaire?
Yeah, around like
Chinese.
December, January, months, and then it's like it's like I think November. It's like they have like this. It's like a superstition or something where they say it's like bad luck to like invest or something, and so you also see like a dip during that time.
Yeah.
Would it be like a plateau kind of?
The Asian markets
But they don't
definitely
lie.
have a big effect on Bitcoin now. Okay. One other thing I want to tell you all about this that I absolutely love, and this I kind of discovered by accident. I set up. Don't tell my kids this.
Okay.
Okay. This is just between all of us and all thousands of people.
Everybody on YouTube and just us.
Right.
All the thousands of people and hundreds of thousands of people that watch this. This is just
Right.
between us. When you go on your Trezor, you can set up different accounts.
Okay.
So I set up accounts for all 3 of my kids and all 3 of my grandkids.
Oh.
Right on one Trezor device.
Yes.
I thought I
on
was
one
going to
device.
buy
Oh,
one
so
device.
on a nano, I could do the same thing.
Yes.
You can set up
I've never
accounts.
seen that, but I hope so.
I hope so.
You can set up accounts. So what I did was, anybody, that's why we're not telling the kids, because the kids don't
Yeah.
need to know about this
Yeah.
until they're grown.
Right.
Right? Ma, see what had happened was, can I get some of them Bitcoins? No. And guess what? All 3 of my grandchildren have Bitcoin too. So
Right.
5, 3, and 1.
Right.
What do you think that Bitcoin is going to be worth?
They're gonna be loaded.
Oh, they'll never have to
I'm
work.
attracting. I'm going to adopt that same.
Yeah, they'll never have to work.
Yeah.
Put it all in
Never.
your Trezor.
I told my son this. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
They'll never have to work. Exactly. Okay?
Don't
Now.
Just leave it there. These don't move. I don't know why that don't move.
Who came up with this concept?
I
Yeah.
guess so you could do
I
different
don't
things
know.
with it, probably.
Yeah,
you
movable
could do-
furniture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
movable furniture.
Yeah.
But I have one question about that.
Question about the
These things,
Trezor.
now these our cold wallets, do they hook up to any exchange? Like you can hook it up to any exchange? and
No,
pull out-
remember this works on Bitcoin addresses just like everything else.
Okay.
So a Bitcoin address is where you're sending it to when you push Bitcoin to here. It gives you an address.
No, I'm talking, all right, so like on my Kraken.
Yeah,
My other-
Kraken.
Yeah, so I could just, all my coins that I have on Kraken, I could just take them and put it on.
Now, here's the deal. If it's an ERC20 token, which means it was launched on the Ethereum network,
Okay.
you can put it on here using my Ether wallet.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's an interface.
Right.
It doesn't go straight, it's not direct.
Right.
It's still on your Trezor, but you have to use my Ether wallet as an interface.
Okay.
And if it's an ERC20 token, it'll be on Ethereum, so it will work on my Ether wallet. It'll show up in a different place when you look it up. It won't show up in your Trezor, regular Trezor account. You've got to pull up my Ether wallet.
Okay.
That's associated with your Trezor.
So question.
Yes.
This device.
Does
Okay.
that make
you know.
sense? Uh-huh. And then you have a question too, Phoenix?
Well, now when you said that, the light bulb just went off my head.
Oh, okay. So first,
So this
then
device
hold on.
is small, and I see the screen is small.
Yeah.
When I hook it
You
up
can
to
hold
the
it.
computer,
You want to look at it.
when I hook it up to the computer, will it show me everything that's on my Trezor?
When you hook it up to the computer,
Uh-huh.
first it's going to ask you to identify yourself because
Okay.
anybody can't just take that device. I don't even care if somebody took that device. I wouldn't care.
Right.
They can't get in it.
Right.
I have the goods. I have the passphrase. So the passphrase, they're going to ask you for your information to get into it. Once you get into it, you're going to see what you have in your Trezor, which is Bitcoin, let's say
Right.
Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever.
Okay.
I don't even know Ethereum. I got to check it. It's Bitcoin Cash. It holds a lot of those,
Okay.
right? Then for the ERC20 tokens, like the things like the EOS and
Mhm.
all of these tokens that were launched on the Ethereum platform,
Right.
they are in the My Ether wallet
Wallet
portion of your,
Right.
and My Ether wallet is the interface
Okay.
with the Trezor. So
Okay.
when you look at your Trezor account, you will not see those in there.
Okay.
When you open your My Ether wallet associated with your Trezor, sounds a little complex, then you'll see under
What's
each
on-
token
okay.
what you have,
Okay.
okay? But I have moved several tokens onto here
Okay.
that I had on exchanges. Have you,
I've done
Tiffany Phoenix?
Ethereum and Bitcoin, but so with the Nano, they have, you can use my Ether wallet. And I went on it and I created an account, but I wasn't comfortable with it, so I ain't messed with it too
I know, because my
That's why
Ether
I
wallet
wanna
looks
do
a
it. I
little
wanna-
flaky. I don't like how it looks.
I'm good to bring it. I'll bring it
Ether
next
wallet,
week.
and it's clunky.
It's weird.
It's not streamlined. It's not beautiful. It's not really consumer friendly.
Yeah, I got some coins on it. I'm just like,
Yeah, I don't really like it, but it's
I
for
don't
now.
have my
Until we get better. But these things continue evolving, getting better. This is definitely much better than what we used to have.
Before, yeah.
Much better.
I like the like Nano has Chrome extensions for
Oh,
Bitcoin
yeah.
and Ethereum. Those are a lot easier to use, but I don't see where you can do altcoins.
Oh,
So you mean to
my
tell me
Ether
on my-
wallet is how you can do the altcoins.
Oh, okay. So
My
that's
Ether wallet.
all right. Okay, so that's all.
Yeah.
All right.
You have
So
to
when
use
you
my
do
Ether
it, let me know. I'm not doing anything until I see somebody else do it.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything.
And we can actually get a demo Trezor and
Okay.
step everybody through it. Because if you get a demo's just for show, everybody, all of us can use it. Then we won't mind showing the passphrase because
Right.
we're not gonna put nothing on it anyway. Maybe
Mhm.
$1 worth of Bitcoin. It'll
Right.
be for learning and show and
Mhm.
tell. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because anybody, you put $1 on Bitcoin and you show the passphrase on YouTube, I promise you that night the dollar will not be there. It's just
So
like that.
sad.
No, that's
That
what
is
people do.
definitely sad.
That's how it works. That's what
Yeah.
people do, right? Now, let's go to number
I'm
4.
waste all my time and still
So
$1.
number 4 is open.
Open.
It's open. It's open source.
Open source.
Bitcoin is open source.
Okay.
Going to the fundamentals, right?
Mhm.
Open source. What does that mean? That means it's transparent. That means everyone can go and do what?
Everyone can access it.
Everyone can go and look at it.
Right.
Okay.
Everyone can go and look. It's
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
So you can go to any blockchain explorer
Mhm.
and you can look and see
All the
all the transactions that have ever happened from the very first transaction on Bitcoin back to January 2009. It's open source. Okay. Does that resonate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They don't see that that Katina just gave me money. They just see the numbers.
Bitcoin address to that
Bitcoin
Bitcoin
address.
address.
That's all they see. Okay.
Mhm.
Bitcoin addresses, no names.
I like how you had me giving you Bitcoin.
You like that, right? You like that, right? Tania does it. I learned that from her.
You're
I
pushing
learned that from
Bitcoin
her.
to me.
Right.
I like
okay?
that. Yeah, Tania. She told me
Let's
that.
go to number 5. So what are we up to? Number 4?
Yep.
Number 4 is what?
Number 4 is open source.
Open source. So everybody gets that part, right?
Mhm.
Number 5, decentralized.
Yes.
Decentralized. And don't we love decentralized?
Yes,
What
yes.
does decentralized mean? There's no president of Bitcoin. There's no owner of Bitcoin. There's no boss of Bitcoin. Yes, it is not powered by any one person. So who powers the whole thing?
The
The
people.
people.
We the people.
We
Power to the
We the people.
Yes.
Power to the people.
Power
We
to
the people.
us.
Power to the people. We the people. Right? So because it's decentralized, no one owns it. No one makes the decisions about it. So because it's decentralized, let's go to the very next one. The very next one is, what are we up to now? Number what?
Six.
Number 6. Consensus. Consensus. This is a fundamental principle of Bitcoin. It operates on consensus. What does consensus mean? We all have to agree.
We all have to.
We all have to agree on what happened. So how do you reach consensus? We reach consensus by mining, not by
Oh, that's
voting.
right.
Okay.
Mining.
Community.
Yeah, community. The community mines. We mine Bitcoin, right? So, well, I don't mine Bitcoin. How do we reach consensus? Because many of the Bitcoin nodes, they do the math, because remember, this is mathematical, right? So they're adding up the math. If you push 1 Bitcoin to Katina,
Mhm.
the math has to first figure out, did you have 1 Bitcoin in the first
Like,
place,
in the first place.
right?
Mhm.
Is this a valid address? From this address, is this a valid address? And once you push 1 Bitcoin to Katina, the consensus, all of the math is done, right?
Mhm.
And it says, okay, if you had 0.5 Bitcoin in your account, you now have what?
1.5.
1.5. If you had 2 and you pushed 1 to her, what do you now have?
1.
Boom.
That's the.
Isn't
That's
that
the
math?
agreement. Yeah. That,
Yes.
Okay. So the agreement is the math.
The math.
Right. Okay. So not just us just sitting around saying, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'll do.
Yeah.
No, we could do that, but that has not worked in the history of humanity. That has not worked. We just talk about it. Yeah, let's just agree to do so and so.
Okay.
That's how we got ourselves in the mess in the first place.
Exactly.
With the creature from Jekyll Island, that a group of people, powerful men, got in the room and said, "Let's just take over the money supply, shall we?" And
Right.
they said, "Okay, let's do it."
Yeah.
And that's how they enslaved all of us monetarily.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. So Consensus is mining. The Bitcoin nodes.
Let me
do the
share
math.
something. Let me share something.
Mhm.
Consensus is a little more complex than just mining.
Okay.
Right.
One aspect of Bitcoin, a very big aspect of Bitcoin, consensus, what happened? We all have to agree on what
Right.
happened, right?
Right.
We all have to come to consensus on what happened.
Right.
How do we arrive at consensus? Math.
Yes.
2
Yes.
minus 1 equals
Exactly.
1.
Yeah.
0.5 plus 1 equals 1.5.
Right.
I
Right.
have a question about that.
Yes.
Because I know different coins, they have different consensus operations.
Exactly.
So is Bitcoin, is it simple as the two agreements, like her saying, I agree to sending her this money?
No, it's
Or
no
is it-
agreements. It's what actually
Right,
happened.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, like, digitally.
The transaction.
The
Right.
transaction.
Yeah.
But I know some other coins, it's like, they're.
Some other coins do not, they come to consensus by proof of stake,
Yes.
not by proof of work. Proof of work is mining. So let's talk about the
Okay.
difference.
Proof
Okay.
of work is mine.
Proof of work. What is proof of work? It's the same thing that your math teacher used to ask you when she asked you show your work.
Yeah. Okay.
You started with 25.
Right.
Minus 3 divided by 2 equals. And you couldn't just put the answer at the bottom of the page.
Map it out.
Right.
Yeah. Show your work.
Like a merge.
Show your work. Right? Then you have to actually do the division, then the multiplication. Because then your teacher could see what?
That you
Right,
really knew how to do
process,
it.
Right.
That you really know how
It's
to do
basically
it.
like an annotation that you do with your textbooks, correct?
Yes.
So you just won't cheat. That's how I looked at it.
And you won't cheat. And she can see, if she or he can see, do you really know how to do these
Mhm.
operations? So what is this mining doing? The exact
The
same thing.
exact same thing. Right.
Proof of work. What is it doing? Math.
Math.
It's doing computations. Did
Yeah.
this person have that money to send to them?
Right.
To this person, is this a valid address? Is that a valid address? And remember, millions of transactions are going on, not all at one time, because Bitcoin can only handle a certain amount of transactions per second. I think like 3 to 5 transactions per second, which is very low.
Right.
But anyway, we have Lightning Network and other things that are scaling it. But at any rate, all these thousands of transactions are happening. How is it every 10 minutes they say, this is what happened, and we all reach consensus on what happens?
Because they all agree on
Math.
the process. Math.
Yes.
Math, the universal language.
And 2 minus 1 is 1.
It's in any language.
We don't care if it's Chinese, English,
Until you get
Right.
to Common Core math, and then it's all night.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the Wild West.
Right.
So now, at the end of that block, you have 1.5 in that address, you have 1 in that address.
Right.
In the next 10 minutes, if you try to send 2, what is it going to do?
No,
Well,
you
Spit it
don't.
out. Does not
Yeah.
compute. You don't have 2.
Does not compute. Yeah.
Right. If you try to send 0.8, oh, 0.8 to stand, now you have 0.2. Boom, boom, boom. It's simple math, and it's accounting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bean counting at its core. Now, once it goes into the block, the first miner, so there's a million computers just crunching away at all these transactions, right? Solving the problems, cryptography, right? Adding the math. Did you have that? Did you have that? Did you have that? Right? Now, if something does not compute, it gets spit out. It doesn't meet the math, right? If it does, it goes into a block. The first miner to solve that problem, the first computer, wins the block reward.
I remember you talking about that.
Ooh, this is where it gets good. Ooh, there's a reward for doing all this math. Now, your teacher never gave you a reward for doing math, did she, boys and girls? You got a gold sticker on your little forehead, a gold sticker on your face. Everybody wanted the gold sticker, didn't you?
Yep.
Right? You didn't get a reward for doing math. In Bitcoin, there's a reward. If you solve all the transactions, the math of that block within that 10-minute time frame, the first person to solve it gets the reward. What is the reward?
Bitcoin.
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 And it's a-
That's how new Bitcoin are born. New Bitcoin are
How
born.
we resolve it?
Hence the
It tells you-
blockchains.
The
Or is
computer
it just
does
goes, do
Yeah.
you actually physically like think about how to resolve something, or it goes
Oh,
automatically?
It's a machine.
It's a
Yeah, they
machine.
have to pay for a
It's
machine.
so
They pay.
advanced now that
Mhm.
these computers,
It's a machine.
they have computers from here to there lined up with fans where there's cheap electricity in
Yes.
China or
Mhm.
places where it's kind of cold, where they don't have to have a lot of fans because these
Fans, right.
computers are so hot, right?
Yeah.
They use a tremendous amount of electricity
Uh-huh.
because these computers are going round the clock.
Yeah.
If you look at a mining operation, it's like
Yeah.
50 million computers. And they usually have it in a remote place where there's cheap electricity because it gobbles so much electricity, millions of dollars worth of electricity.
It was a guy on YouTube that was saying that he was selling his mining machine for 10 G's because he drives his kids crazy because when it's running, they can't be on the internet because it drains the entire house.
Yeah.
So he's like, he gotta get rid of it because he said they curse him out all day.
But even at this point, nobody.
No
it's
one
been-
person should be mining. at
Yeah,
this
in the
point.
beginning,
We're past
when
that.
there was
Yeah.
like 2 Bitcoin
Yeah.
transactions, like
Yeah,
I
we
sent
passed
you
that.
something and you sent something to
Yeah.
Lady Ninnersog.
Mhm.
Okay, you can do that with your home computer.
Right.
Mhm.
And I do
You would
notice
get the reward.
A lot of people are in diametric opposition to the whole concept of Bitcoin to say, oh, it's
Not economic. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
sustainable because it's not loving to the environment because it uses so much electricity. I believe that that's a bunch of crap
Me too.
because why haven't we yet invented solar powered
Yes.
technology? And the only reason we haven't is because the energy companies have
Yeah,
a stranglehold
exactly.
on the whole planet.
Yeah.
That's the only reason we don't have. We can have solar powered everything.
Everything.
Right.
Indeed, the sun does power everything.
Yes.
It's our batteries.
The,
Yes.
the sun and then what
The
compost?
sun.
They was
Wind power, water power.
Yeah.
All this.
Yeah.
All of
We
that
don't
could
need to
power
use
these
electricity.
machines. So that's not the fault of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's the energy companies and the energy people that have a stranglehold on the planet. And they are a powerful, powerful, powerful bunch, those energy
Yeah,
people.
they like the
And
mafia.
they are hardcore. And any kind of solar anything that you want to do, you gonna have a hard time
Right.
for the meantime. Because eventually that's gonna give. So it's not an issue with Bitcoin. It's the energy monopolies and the energy concerns that will be brought to their knees as well. Because who's going to continue paying for a ton of money for electricity when you can have things solar powered?
Exactly.
It's just a matter of time.
So could you move your facilities to places like Iceland where it's like geothermic?
That's exactly where a lot of the Bitcoin mining operations are. They're going to places like Iceland, Russia. Russia is very Russia is very friendly to cryptocurrency. Russia, and it's cold.
Yeah.
And look in Siberia. You could
Yes.
power all your machines and
Yeah.
not use much electricity to cool
No.
them off, and you could remote. These are the best places to run a mining operation, right? So, oh, sure. So, let's go to where are we? Number 6 on consensus.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
consensus, let's finish up with consensus. Consensus means that we all have to agree on what happened. And we're not agreeing what happened based on opinions. Well, I think this happened, well, I think that happened. We would still not even have the first block in Bitcoin if you have to get people to agree.
Yep.
We're agreeing because the math said this is what happened. And the first computer that says this is what happened, that miner gets the block reward, it's called. That 10-minute, every 10 minutes, new Bitcoin are born. Every 10 minutes, it's coded into it, right? The block reward used to be 50 Bitcoin. Then we had what was called a halving event. For every 4 years, it cuts in half.
Okay.
So we had 50 Bitcoin, then it halved to 25 Bitcoin. Last, when was the last halving event? 2012, I think, or 2016?
I think it was
2016, right? 2016, we had a halving event to 12.5. From 25 to 12.5, the next halving event is in 2020.
Wow.
Every time there's a halving event, price skyrockets.
Oh.
You mean the Bitcoin gonna go up?
High.
High. So,
Why?
yeah.
Now, why is that though?
High.
Why
Here's
is that?
number
Bitcoins
7.
now.
Here's number 7. Yes.
Can you explain proof of stake since we explained
Yes,
it?
proof of stake and proof of work. Okay.
Oh.
So just to talk about proof of work. Proof of work means that we can see what you did with regard to mining. We can see your cryptography. You did 2 minus 1 equals 1. This is all public on the blockchain. 0.5 plus 1 equals 1.5. We have all that on the ledger. It's open, right?
Yeah.
You can see all the transactions. Now, all right, love.
Oh, you
Love you.
leaving?
Bye. See you. Love you.
You leaving, Kira? Oh, all right, because I want you to talk to Val, but okay.
But we can talk.
We can do it on
a
the
little
phone.
later on.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk a little later.
All
on.
right.
Or tomorrow. Okay. Have a beautiful night, lovely. So, proof of work means that there was actual mining.
Be safe.
Actual mining that was done
Safe travels.
that came to the conclusions
All right,
that we
Kira.
came to.
Okay,
Okay.
call me.
Cryptography.
Love you. Be good. Yes.
See you later, sweetie. Love you.
Love you. Is that not that way, Kira?
Which way is that?
That, go that way?
Down.
You're on the elevator.
Yeah,
And
that
then
way.
just
That
be
way.
wandering past.
The LuvTubers are loving this filter. This is an incredible filter, isn't it?
And they are into
So
it. I didn't see
magical.
any likes.
Oh yeah, the likes are up
You saw the
there.
likes?
There's more likes than actually viewers right now. No, I love it. On the longer, non-interactive videos where we do the long billionaire club, I think they're over there taking notes.
Right.
Yeah,
Because it's so quiet.
Yeah, you
It's
know,
so
they
good.
watching.
Yeah, they're watching. Taking notes,
They
right?
looking.
Indeed. So, proof of work versus proof of stake. This is where Ripple completely crumbles to shreds.
Right.
Now, proof of work means that we mined and we did the cryptography, and the cryptography proved true, and we created more Bitcoin only because we solved the puzzle, right?
Right.
You're not going to get Bitcoin if you don't solve the puzzle, right?
Right.
Now, proof of stake says, I have a bunch of it, and because I have a bunch of it, I get to say what happened.
Is that Ripple?
Oh, that's Ripple.
Is that Ripple?
Oh, that's what I invested in?
Oh,
Like, AP sale.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What is proof of work? Proof of work is
I can't
they
sell
did
it,
the
though.
math, they
Right,
did the
they did the
cryptography.
right.
Proof of stake is I own a bunch of it so I can say what's going on.
Wow. How different is that from a regular?
'Cause they just-
Centralized,
yeah,
any
because-
centralized,
company-
what, from the
Well,
government.
From a corporation.
Yeah, but that means that they can have their
Owning
own price
shares.
for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
They can have their own thing. They can say Bitcoin could be worth 20. They can say we're only gonna do it for 10, right? If they wanted to.
It could. Let's talk about how this played out.
Okay.
Let's say all of us get together and we're gonna create a new coin. Let's call it the money coin. Let's say that we're going to issue 1 billion of the money coin.
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
Yeah.
1 billion money coin. Let's say that I will sell you the first one for $1. What's our market cap? We have 1 billion coins and one just sold for $1. What's our market? 1 billion. We're on the front page of Coin Market Cap, aren't we?
Yeah.
We just created a coin which we can create 5 to 15 minutes on Ethereum right now. We can issue 1 billion of them right now. And we can give each other, I can have 10% of it, 10%, 10%, 10%. How about 10 of us in a room? We each hold 10% of the billion. Proof of stake means that we get to say what it happens because we own it. We're holding it. We have stake to claim in it. That's the simplest way that you can look at proof of stake. Well, how is that? I'm not convinced that proof of stake is helpful, especially when you put proof of stake next to proof of work. Proof of work is this money was not created out of thin air by a bunch of people who got together and said, let's create a coin and let's keep most of it. And then let's decide what's going to happen with this coin. That's Ripple. Ripple created, how many Ripple are there? 400 billion?
That's too many.
400 billion. There's 400 billion Ripple.
That's too many.
They made it up. That's
How
why
many
they're
people
number
on the
2 or
planet?
3 on Coin Market Cap.
Is there almost as many people on the planet?
It's way more than how many people
How
on the
many
planet.
people on the
Because I
planet?
think 7.5 billion people on the
So
planet.
why would you create
400 billion.
Yeah, that don't make sense.
Well, they wanted to become wealthy. It's working. Their plan is working.
Okay.
So they did the same thing that the Fed does.
They printed money.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what they did.
Because they can. Because they
Yeah,
are
They are the
government.
state.
And one day, they're the stakeholders. Exactly. And one day, what if they wanted to sell all of their crap coin?
They would.
Where
They
would be
crash
the
the
people-
market.
Everybody would lose.
Yeah, they would crash it.
And how you gonna crash something that's $1 and change? It ain't very far to crash it.
No.
Down to 10 cents, a penny.
How much is Ripple?
Did you see big dollars?
I don't even
$1.08,
look at. I haven't
89
even.
cents.
Only thing I look at now is Bitcoin. I ain't even looking at my other.
Yo,
It's
I-
crap. It's
I-
I
total
ain't even looking
crap.
at them.
I haven't looked
Ripple
at
is
it.
XRP, right?
XRP.
I'm in hard
It's total crap.
Only thing I look at is
67
Bitcoin.
67
It
cents.
went down to 67 cents.
If it's
And let me tell you something.
It was-
So many
hold on one
people
second.
told me they wanted to invest in Ripple. So many people. I said, did you look at it? Do you know what Ripple is? Do you know what it does? Do you know how it works?
Yeah.
They don't know any of that. They just saw it on CoinMarketCap at the third position.
No,
And they saw it was
wasn't
cheap.
about the third position. It was about who was backing it, but I wasn't
Cheap.
thinking properly.
Who was
I didn't
backing it?
understand. The bank that was backing it is
There's no bank backing Ripple.
no, it's what is it what is the name of that company?
Read the details. There's no bank backing Ripple. That's
No,
their
it was
big marketing ploy. Oh, we work with banks. Oh, banks have bought into our technology. Not. What bank would buy into Ripple? Think about it.
What does Ripple do? What's
Well,
the purpose of Ripple?
supposedly they're going to process transactions for banks
okay.
speedy, make it speedy, and help banks come online with blockchain technology. But if you look at the few fundamentals of Bitcoin, you will know proof of work and proof of stake. You'll see it's crap.
Right.
If you understand proof of work, I know where every Bitcoin came from.
Right.
You can look at every Bitcoin, and every Bitcoin, no Bitcoin spit out of thin air. We did math, and we got new Bitcoin, and this is the date that we got it, and it's still named and numbered. We can find that exact Bitcoin.
Okay.
You can find every exact Bitcoin, and you can trace one Bitcoin from now all the way back to the beginning of when it was born.
Right.
Because
So-
we did the math. We
so-
did the work. We showed our work on the paper. Our teacher gave us the gold star.
Right.
We didn't just sit around and invent money.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. There is really no difference between Ripple and the government.
The Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve
Who
or
prints money out there behind every day.
Because there's somebody at the top making all decisions.
Yes, the stakeholders.
Right. The stakeholders.
Or the shareholders, you can
Oh,
call them.
right.
Exactly. So proof of stake means I'm holding some of it, I stake some of it, I say what goes on, I can confirm transactions because I'm holding it.
Okay, so like how you say like they max out with Bitcoin is 21 million, right?
Yes, that's number 7. But before we go
I'm
to number
sorry.
7, oh no,
I was gonna
continue.
ask. Well, that was my point. Like, so what do you feel is the most like if you're dealing with Bitcoin, it should not be more than 21, or like what is it?
Meaning
Like, cause you said that there's 400 billion of Ripple, but there's only
Yeah,
21.
400 billion Ripple.
Yeah, but I'm saying so like, so what's the max that you think that a coin should be? You know what I mean? Like in population.
I
max
don't
amount.
know.
Yeah.
That hasn't been proven.
Mhm.
We only know that number 7, we're going to go into it right now,
Okay.
is scarcity.
Yes.
There's
Okay.
only ever going to be
Means scarcity.
21 million Bitcoin
21 million?
forever.
Yeah.
21
million.
million, which is a tiny,
Tiny.
tiny amount of Bitcoin.
I love how you said like it's
Tiny.
not even enough for every millionaire to have one Bitcoin.
To what not? If you
Yeah.
have one Bitcoin, consider yourself very blessed. There's not even enough Bitcoin ever for even every millionaire on the planet to even have one
Wow.
Bitcoin.
Wow.
Think about that.
So if you got a Bitcoin,
You are lucky. You are.
You doing real good.
You're doing very well.
If you have
If
one
you have a
Bitcoin,
whole Bitcoin, and if you have several Bitcoin,
you
oh, you're bomb.com. You will be legendary. You'll probably be a trillionaire, first
Yeah.
of all.
By the time I'm like 185.
No.
Well, look how fast we got here.
Exactly.
Yeah, this moves
I would
fast.
say in 10, 20
They-
years.
They
20
say
years.
5 years there'll be no more fiat currency.
Well, yeah.
No
so
more
it's
government.
probably
Who would
5
use
years.
government currency when you can use
I think there are
cryptocurrency?
so much in stake here. I think it's going to be government currency.
Yeah.
Absolutely, all those banks, corporations, insurance companies.
But however,
They
if
will
you
do
look at
anything
them,
to
Every
protect
empire.
it.
but if you look at it, they've all been coming onto the blockchain.
Right.
So now
Yeah,
we've got
everything. They just-
But he
Polymath.
doesn't know that. He thinks that he
Oh.
has to convert his Bitcoin back to cash.
No, no,
you know
no,
that
no.
There's a whole Bitcoin world.
Oh no!
Right?
Once you
can
go
buy
into the crypto
everything.
world,
Oh,
you can
okay.
stay in the crypto world.
Yeah,
you
so
can
you don't
live
have to work
completely
it,
on crypto.
yeah.
You never have to come out of crypto if you don't want to.
Right.
In the crypto space, we have Polymath, you have Utrust, you have what are the other ones? some of the other ones, the I ratings or Ignite ratings.
Ignite
Oh,
ratings.
You have
This one for your car, like purchasing a car and tracking the history of your car.
Oh,
Oh, my goodness.
That's the one that you did. Yeah,
Vertical?
no, that's the one that you did with.
V-Chain?
Well, you didn't do
Verge?
V-Chain. Verge.
Verge.
I just got a text from them,
Look at that.
but I ain't do nothing because you ain't do nothing.
No,
Wait,
no, I bought Verge a long time ago.
About what?
All
Verge.
of the financial markets are going to the blockchain.
Right, and anytime you keep
Every
seeing
one
it
of them.
on the regular
So what do you
drive-by
mean by
media,
Well, it's just better technology. So in other words, the stock market is extremely inefficient,
yes,
right?
yes,
If you put it on the blockchain, you have cryptography to say exactly what happened. That takes away all the corporate fraud.
that's right.
It takes away all the fraud because it's open. We see exactly what happened. It happened by math.
Is it
Right.
definitely
No
going to
one-
be on the?
Oh, it's all coming to the blockchain.
Yeah.
There's no question. You know why? When I first saw the blockchain, I was like, when I got it, that it was a ledger and that it was consensus and that it was immutable. So when we look at consensus, once we've done the math, it's immutable. It's open and everyone can see it. No one can go back and change it.
Right.
No one can go back and cook the books.
Cook the books. Yeah.
And it's open. We're all looking at it.
Right,
And it's sealed and it's locked forever.
right.
That's what happened. And there it is on the wall.
Mhm.
And it's unchangeable. It's immutable. There's no way to go in and manipulate and change the voting results. When you bought that security, think of the implications of an immutable ledger that's open that cannot be tampered with.
Right.
That goes for every record keeping, everyone who uses a ledger,
Yeah.
from birth records to death records to hospital records to grades
Yes.
to voting
Every
to
aspect.
land records.
Yes.
Everything will be on the blockchain in about 10 minutes. Blink your eyes
Yeah.
and everything will be on the blockchain. They have said the blockchain has already gotten an award for being the #1 greatest invention since the internet.
Yeah.
Blockchain technology, how Bitcoin works, the actual blockchain. The fact that we can do it by math, it's consensus, yep, that's what happened. It's open and it's immutable. You cannot change it, completely transparent. You cannot change it. How many ways can we apply that?
Every way.
How many ways can we apply everything that you have to keep a record of?
Right.
Life insurance, death certificates, medical records. There is now a blockchain kind of company bringing on board all of those.
Yeah.
You're looking at over in Korea, they are working with the universities.
Korea
Korea is off the charts with blockchain. They're putting universities, they're talking about a digital identity, put people on the blockchain, your every move, car records on the blockchain, if a car has been in an accident,
Yeah.
odometer, they can turn back the odometer, not on the blockchain,
Yeah.
birth records, real estate, land records, people have sold houses, marriage certificates, wills, trusts, everything is gonna go on the blockchain. Everything. Everything. Okay, so lastly, number 7, Bitcoin is scarce.
Scarce.
Scarce. Only 21 million will ever exist.
All right, so now you said that this is the 7 characteristics of Bitcoin.
7
Can I
characters.
change that
Some
to
of
this
these
is
Fundamentals.
7
fundamentals.
reasons, or I could say 7 reasons to purchase Bitcoin.
You could.
Yeah.
You could.
Mhm.
Now, that scarcity alone is huge value.
Yes.
Anything that's scarce is valuable. So now 21 million is all we're ever going to have. And every time it's halved, in other words, when the block reward is halved, which it's 12.5 now, Bitcoin, in 2020, summer of 2020,
That's 2 years from now.
It's gonna be like
We have our next-
6.25.
that's right. We have our next halving event.
So we need to go all in
6.25.
right now. Get your Bitcoin.
Get your Bitcoin.
Bitcoins
Because
up.
do you realize that one day there will be no more new
Bitcoins,
Bitcoins sitting
right.
out? And guess what? We have already lost, they say something like 4 million Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So we've already lost 4 million. computers that went in the trash, computers that blew up with Bitcoin still on it, lost wallets, lost passphrases.
Yeah.
Your friend,
Yeah.
those Bitcoin are lost, never to be recovered.
Wow.
Never. Ever.
Wow.
Cannot ever be recovered. Computers flew in the water,
Mhm.
phone got wet, blew up.
Yeah.
All those Bitcoin, they say 4 million Bitcoin, including the million that Satoshi Nakamoto has.
Mhm.
4 million are off the
Wait a minute.
books. They say Satoshi Nakamoto has 1 million Bitcoin, the founder of Bitcoin, the
He
one
has 1 million coins.
1 million Bitcoin.
That's never been.
Okay.
That's never
but-
moved out of that first wallet.
Right, but
Probably
didn't
could
I
be the
hear
world's
that
first
he's Probably
trillionaire.
not like the real, like, wasn't there
Is
something that he's not a
Satoshi
real person or
Nakamoto
something?
is not, they say not one person,
He's
it's more
several
probably
people.
a group of people.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
like a male or a female.
Okay.
It's Satoshi Nakamoto was
Right.
the pen name under which this white paper was created.
Okay, got it. Because I
Satoshi
always had
Nakamoto.
this image of this,
It's not
Chinese
like
guy.
one
Right.
person. Yeah, a Japanese guy. And they kept harassing this Japanese man that was named
Right,
Satoshi Nakamoto
right.
in Japan. Are you the creator of Bitcoin? He was like, no. Leave me alone.
And if
You
he
remember,
doesn't have any
they were
Bitcoin-
chasing him around. He was like, no. He was like, I wish people would stop terrorizing me. I changed my name. Oh my goodness, they terrorized that man. Oh, they terrorized him. But how many Satoshi Nakamotos are probably living in Japan?
Exactly. And you got 1 million Bitcoin. You
Yeah.
1 million
His
Bitcoin.
family
They
was
never
looking
moved
at
out of
him
that
like,
wallet, right?
uh-huh,
1 million
yeah.
Bitcoin are still in that wallet. They never moved out. So that is the original trillionaire. The first trillionaire will definitely be in the crypto space. The first trillionaires, don't you think?
You
Because
think- yeah.
they'll fly past billions.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Fly
yeah.
past. Crypto will fly past billions.
Right.
They'll fly past the richest people in the world, like Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. They'll fly past the Waltons family. They'll fly past all of them.
Because it hasn't even hit momentum yet.
Yeah, it hasn't even.
hit momentum yet. Like,
Most of the world still doesn't even know
Right.
what Bitcoin is.
Exactly. So this is my mindset from our conversation this evening.
What's your mindset from the
is
conversation?
that for the next 2 years,
I'm gonna be stacking my Bitcoin.
stacking your Bitcoins.
Stacking.
Get what you can.
because
Right,
that
you
what
can't
you
get it.
is gonna be loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get what you can. Just you
Alone.
need to make a decision and say every week
I'm buying Bitcoin.
50,
Put it on
20.
automatic buy, which you
Right,
can on
true.
Coinbase. You
Right.
can do automatic
You
buy
need
on
to say
Coinbase.
this is what I'm putting every week, no matter what.
And one thing I do want everyone to know, everything from 2 down on CoinMarketCap is an experiment.
From 2
Bitcoin,
down.
from 2 down.
Oh, okay, I get
Right.
you.
Everybody's
On
trying to
CoinMarketCap.
match. They're trying to be like Bitcoin.
Yeah, there's 1,500.
Yeah.
Do you ever go to CoinMarketCap.com?
Yeah, I mean, I know there are a lot of all kinds of cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, 1,500.
So is there like alternative to Bitcoin?
We have not found an alternative to Bitcoin yet.
Not Litecoin
An
is.
alternative, not like on Ethereum.
Not one of them does what Bitcoin does. Not one.
And none of them had a track record, right?
None of them have the track record.
No,
The
have
track
track
record is very.
And Ethereum has only been around for 3 years and it already got a major hack, the
Okay.
DAO hack. It was hacked so badly that they had to, first they had a fork, then they had a
Yeah,
hack.
fork.
And the hack, they had to turn back the blockchain to actually to wipe out those transactions. Yeah,
We're not supposed to be doing that.
Yeah,
That's the purpose of the
exactly.
blockchain.
exactly. And they did it.
See,
And people didn't complain because it gave everybody back their money and made them whole.
right.
But if you can turn back a blockchain, it's not really
Then
immutable.
it's not really right.
Plus, Ethereum is nowhere near scalable. So while it does maybe 7 to 10, 7 to 11 or 12 transactions per second,
Uh-huh.
Bitcoin 3 to 5 transactions per second,
Right.
Visa something like 7,000 transactions per second, Facebook 50,000 transactions per second. I mean, some high number.
What's the market cap for Ethereum?
Ethereum, good question. Let's look it up.
You know, I don't
The
have.
market cap
I don't have
for
any of my
Ethereum.
devices.
I'm
over
not
here.
sure.
Oh, okay.
But Bitcoin is the only proven one. The only. All the rest of them and I am a Bitcoin maximalist. I just have to say that. Bitcoin maximalists believe that Bitcoin is the best one.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And that we are not fooled by all these other 50 million altcoins.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that I haven't bought any of those altcoins. I do. I own a lot of altcoins as well, but I am a Bitcoin maximalist.
58 billion.
Mhm.
Ooh.
However, none of them have made the significant advancement that Bitcoin has. Okay.
That's the current price
Now,
of Ethereum.
here's the last thing I want to say about
Oh,
Bitcoin.
they went down.
Here's the last thing.
Everything.
Everything went down.
Everything is down.
Everything
right?
is down. Everything's
Everything
on
on
sale.
sale.
Right, everything's on sale. That's what we used to say in the stock market. It's on sale. Time to
Yeah.
buy. Now, this is the last thing I want to say about Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin so expensive? From what we saw today, we can see why it's so expensive, right? Why is it 8, 9, 10,000, 20,000 when some altcoins are a few cents,
Scarcity.
20 cents?
Scarcity.
Look at all the things that we have, right?
Right.
So they're not just poof, money out of thin air.
Right.
This is proof of work.
Proof of work.
We
Okay.
understand where this came from.
Right.
There's a process. Math is proving it, and it's trustless. We don't need to trust people because we have cryptography.
Okay.
That's why you see people with shirts on that say, "In cryptography, we trust,"
Yeah.
because the math did, and I don't have to trust anybody.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie.
That's numbers
Right.
don't lie, right?
Universal language.
Yes. Now, lastly, here's the last thing to remember about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been attacked. It has been tried to be hacked. It's been beat. It's been punched. It's been trying to blow up. People have tried to sabotage all of that. And what has it done?
Keep
Every
going.
10 minutes.
Every 10
Every
minutes.
10 minutes. Every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes. For almost a decade now. That's proven.
Okay.
It is paid its effing due.
Right. So when it say
All the rest of them, they're experiments. Let's see if this thing works. I hope it does. None of them are proven. Not even Ethereum. Because we got crypto kitties on Ethereum and it blew Ethereum up.
See, when you say it crashed, you don't mean it really crashed. You just mean it went down.
Oh, which one?
Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin has crashed 50 million times. When I say crash, it means went way down in
Went
price.
way down, right?
Yeah.
But never to zero.
No,
Never to
right.
zero.
It'll
Never
never
to
go to
zero.
zero.
Right.
Never
Because
to
4
zero.
million is lost.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Maybe that's why they did that.
It's never going to.
So it would never crash completely.
Yeah. And if you want to go to see how many times Bitcoin died, you can go to bitcoinobituaries.com.
That's
And you
so
see that
silly.
Bitcoin has officially died something like 200 times.
Right.
Bitcoin's dead. Bitcoin is dead. No, really, this time Bitcoin is really dead. And no.
No.
So there we have it. Okay? Is that good for the fundamentals of
Yes.
Bitcoin? So fun. All right, peeps. Love you. They love this filter too. Love you, peeps.